I just like it when it's time. Put it down. Can't even fly. What I said, I kind of feel real high. What did you say? Don't want to play. Not play games with me today. Oh.
Breaking news, Harsh Barge, with your host, Gregory Scott Schmit.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. That's right, kids. Harsh Barge is back with a second attempt. Our tech support on both sides have worked feverishly through the nights, and we have the one and only Nate Sherwood joining us. You know what I want to say, though? What is going on with McKinney? I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's been up to. Everybody's hitting me up. They're asking me questions, and we'll figure it out eventually. I'm sure he might tune in and drop some funny comments here and there. But without further ado, we're going to bring on our guest. And remember, this is live, so I do have to give the preempted thing that anything could happen tonight. There could be issues, there could be problems, but our tech support has definitely told us that it should be okay. So do you guys know who's up?
Who can it be?
That's right. The one, the only, Nate Sherwood.
Nate Sherwood's eduskating the world.
And we got the bumper all made. Nate, welcome to the show and welcome to Harsh Barge as our first employee or teammate, or I don't even know what we're going to call you, but me and McKinney have been playing around. You seem to be hyped on it. You sent us your profile, your tracks, all your stuff, and you're here, man. How are you? How's Iowa?
Yeah.
How's Eduskate shop? And thanks to your lady friend for connecting us. You look a much better the last time, and hopefully it doesn't go black. Hopefully we don't have any issues.
Dude, absolutely, man. Last time was unbelievable, like EMF. I could not believe the tech meltdown we had. I apologize to anybody out there that, put off work or taking the kids to school or whatever was going on in their life around the world to tune into that and have that major faux pas happen. But I appreciate skate being here. I keep everyone out there motiskated. I like keeping it very creative, and I like to deckerskate the language with what we're doing tonight. Being a correspondent for TalkinSchmit is a lifelong dream come true, man. I've always admired, Lance Mountain's, segment on Skate TV back in the day, and to be able to do the same type of thing with shop talk and talking about the small nuances and all the esoteric things that go into skateboarding with equipment support is truly a great honor to personify that to the world, because I do it behind the counter for the past 14 years every day, but to be able to vocalize it to people outside of, the little micro dot of skate society that I live in here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, it does mean a lot to me, and I'm happy to be using this platform and being able to piggyback right off of what you and McKinney do. So thank you so much for having me here and having me as a part of your team.
Yeah, dude, we're hyped, and we're going to start it off right away. Soldier Jones is in the house, and he wants to know favorite pressure flip.
Wow. That's a hard one for me. It's like choosing one of your children to be the favorite, right? Go too easy. If we're just talking just a pressure flip without any, grind or slide or any variation into it, I would have to say the laser pressure flip or frontside 360 shove it pressure flip is my favorite. It's like a lot of people think it's a laser flip, but they don't slow-mo it, but it's just like a frontside 360 heel flip. You know what I mean? Looks like a laser, but it's scooped with your back toe. That's probably my favorite. It's always a lot of fun. It's always really very cathartic. It's very meditative. I love just kicking that thing out first thing in the morning. As I get older, it's a little bit harder than it used to be, but it's still a great feeling of connecting to my youth. When I first, figured that one out in 1991, hanging out with Chris Fissel in a parking lot at a holiday school in Portland, Oregon. So that would probably be my favorite, mostly because of the sentimental quality to it, but also because even still to this day, 30 years later, people still get fooled by it and think it's a laser flip. And I always have to correct them. No, it's a frontside 360 shove it pressure flip or whatever, But it is a fun one and an enjoyable one for sure.
Shout out to Chris Fissel, right?
Shout out.
Yeah, Chris Fissel, great guy. I mean, he was my mentor. When I was 12 years old, I tore 2 ligaments in my flick foot, my left foot. And the doctors, then weren't like they are now. There wasn't physical therapists on site. My parents, who I loved, my parents loved me, but they weren't, athletes by any means. So they didn't understand the importance of physical therapy or stretching or any of that stuff. So when I tore those ligaments, my ankle got so stiff, and to this day, there was so much scar tissue in there that my kick flips, my heel flips, all that kind of stuff was really hurting. And so I learned pressure flips basically as a, I guess you could say as a way out, as a way to keep myself sane because I couldn't flick anymore. And so I knew Chris Fissel through guys like Matt Beach and Dave Hupp and Jamie Fortune. I would see him at, he was much older than me, but I'd see him at different spots around town. And he taught me how to do the traditional, just, little, shove it pressure flip that everyone does. And after that, it just kind of spawned. Every time someone was either inventing or innovating a trick after that, I was like, okay, if this person can do a big spin flip, I'm going to do it, but pressure, And then I saw Frank Harada and Willie Santos doing that in Feasters and also high karate. Whatever. Blizzard flips became very popular. And then I was doing blizzard pressure flips. I mean, whatever. We could go on. Every derivative of kick flip or heel flip variation you can think of, I was just like, how can I do this pressure flip? And then I would just kind of come up with the way of doing that. Then guys like Damon Bird were dropping stuff. And, there was a lot of heads that were, in the big pants, small wheels era, guys like Ron Carnegie, of course, and Justin Gerard. And, a lot of those Bay Area dudes, Rick Apicetta, those were a lot of my early influences.
Yeah, Rick I. That's
Rick I. Yeah.
I love that dude.
Me too. Big fan. Huge fan. It was neat that for a while their pressure flips were being done by everybody. I mean, Steve Cavallero and Hot Batch was doing pressure flips. Wade Spire was in Concord, not from where we were sitting, doing a pressure pivot on that little garage mini ramp and Hot Batch.
Flipping, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Wade Spire doing pressure flip. Just think about how crazy that is. The man that once said that if it's not country, it's not music, drives a gnarly truck with cowboy boots, was doing such a fresh trick as a pressure flip. And I mean this in the most loving way. I love Wade. And in fact, there was a skate camp in Oregon, the Dallas, Oregon. And it was the summer between my 6th and 7th grade of school. And you can do the math on it. But long story short, this is he wrote for Think of This Time. And he flew up to be one of the guest pros at it. And my mom volunteered to pick him up from the airport because his lift, Chad Vaught, flaked out like dandruff. Chad's car broke down. So Helen Ellsmore later ran the skate camp, called my mom because for some reason they were homies. And I picked him up from the airport and we drove him like 2.5 hours out to the Dallas, Oregon, like way out to the, Columbia River Gorge. And I was just sitting in the Volvo, like all fanned out, like trying to be all cool, like a little kid, like Wade Spires in the back of the Volvo, like, holy shit. And, listen to Black Sabbath and listen to the Beatles and shit. And him just sitting there very quiet and very reserved, just chill as fuck, very, very polite to my mom, but, very just like your typical teenage, dude. And I'll just never forget that, Wade Spire and my mom being such a hero to pick him up from the airport.
Dude, Wade's the best.
Yeah, he is. He's great. I mean, first guy to skate Hub a Hideout. I mean, that I love that like knee tuck he had on the cover of the mag, like down that big old hill. And
is it a crooked grind or a nose bonk?
Oh wow, what he did?
Yeah.
I always maybe I'm just under the.
I don't think there was video of it. There's just the photo, right? I think it's a
Dogtown
Dogtown ad.
The Dogtown.
He's in a crooked grind, but it could just be a nose bonk too.
You might have.
Knowing Wade, you don't know what it was.
Yeah, we need to kid up Wade and ask him because I always from the Dogtown ad, I always thought it was a crooks. And I could be very wrong. There's a lot of things in my life where then the video comes out or someone says, no, man, I did this, or how that is. I mean, I remember meeting Brian Lottie and first time I met him, I was all stoked as like every little kid is. And like it was already very well publicized that he was the inventor of the big spin. He's like, nah, someone else probably, he was so humble. Someone else probably did it. They just weren't in the limelight. And he was very like humble. And I love that beauty of people that can just say, I don't know. I was the first guy that got, published doing it, but that doesn't mean I was the first. There could be some farm boy in Nebraska that, you know what I mean? Like whatever, you know what I mean? He left it up to the magiscation and there's a beauty to that,
Hey, the humble will be always respected. That's what,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Speaking of these early days though, Soldier Jones, he says, did Nate grow up in the Dallas? Did he live in Hood River? I'm curious to know about your early upbringing. It is Oregon, right?
It was Oregon. I was not in the Dalles or Hood River. I do love that area. I spent some time out there. I grew up in Vancouver, Washington, right across the river from Portland, Oregon. I grew up in the Couve.
Oh, okay.
So my dad got a job there when I was 2 months old, and we moved there from Kenosha, Wisconsin, which, you know, a small little town between Racine and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was only 2 months old, so I don't remember any of it. It was one of those things. My mom got knocked up. Now I don't know the details of those things. And in March of '79, they moved to Vancouver, Washington, because my dad got a job with a local bank there. And so yeah, I mean, I would commute to Portland every day to skate and do things and get groceries. Vancouver, Washington is like a better community to Portland. And the thing about it is, at the time in Washington State, there was no property tax. You could buy a house and have no property tax, but in Oregon, there was no sales tax. So people were like working the system that would live on that side of the Columbia River, because they would drive across the river to Jansen Beach and they get all their groceries and all their shopping and stuff, and then drive back across, you know, where there was a sales tax. It was an interesting little loophole in the system at the time. But, you know, so yeah, I mean, I grew up there, but I spent a lot of time in Belmont Street. I lived over in Hawthorne for a while. I went to school in Beaverton. I was a major fuck up in middle school, so my parents sent me away to a Catholic school my freshman, sophomore, junior
That's
of high
where
school.
Nike is, right? Beaverton?
Yeah, yeah. I used to ride the bus 54 TriMet every morning by the Nike campus. And this is what's hilarious now. And again, I'm not saying this is a political thing. Full disclaimer, I'm saying this is as the most humble, just this thing that happened in the past. It's not bad. It's not good. It's anything. It's just a fact. My friend Noah Steinberg and me decided to get off the bus early. We were on the earlier bus, and we had a late start, basically our first period. You know, there was like one of those PTA things. And he's like, hey, let's go skate that curb in front of Nike. And, you know, we realized that, you know, the class didn't start till 9 a.m. instead of, 8:15. So we're like, yeah, we can catch the next one. We'll skate the curb. And we got busted before we could even do like the first manual. And it was just so funny because at that time in 1993, Nike was not, you know, like it is now. It wasn't, you know, now I think they'd be like, yeah, you know, we're all about skateboarding, which is, you know, great. Good for them. I'm happy things evolve. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Good for them that they evolved and grew to love us. You know, but I just remember me and Noah Steinberg getting busted, you know, 1993, fall of 93, this guy coming out in a polo shirt, the little Nike badge, security, a little laminate, you know, little earpiece, little, you know, walkie-talkie cord, you know, you guys can't do that shit here. You got to leave. I could cite you for criminal trespassing because we had to jump like a fence that was, you know, so short that, you know, Danny Wainwright could all get easy.
Wainwright.
You know, I mean, it was actually tall. I just mean short in the sense that it wasn't like we had to climb a 6-foot fence. But yeah, Danny Wainwright, shout out. You know, I'll never forget me and Noah Steinberg, you know, laughing about that on the TriMet 54 route, Beaverton Hillsdale Highway. But yeah, I was where Nike was, and a lot of my good friends work at Nike now. A lot of my good friends growing up worked at Nike. A lot of my friends' dads and moms worked at Nike. It was a huge part of the economy there. I mean, I remember going to sleepovers and, you know, find someone's mom worked at Nike, and you know, it's such a huge operation and there were so many moving parts, or there is, I should say, that, you know, it provided a lot for the economy. So I'm not shitting on Nike by any means. It was just one of those hilarious things that, you know, the place that now that, you know, is so pro skateboarding was so like, get the fuck off our curb, you know? And, you know, it's one of those, you know, classic, you know, we're 14 years old, going to school, jumping a fence and, you know, whatever. And we had some time to kill. And, but yeah, I went to school in Beaverton for 3 years, then transferred my senior year back to Vancouver, Washington, to Hudson's Bay High School for my senior, because I got my grades up and got out of hot water with the folks.
So how did you end up in Iowa?
So I was in San Diego, California. I was working at Duff's Shoes at the time. This is back in 07, 06. Sorry, Jesus.
Shout out.
Yeah. And I was working there. RP Best, Russ Pope. Shout out to all those guys. Thanks for giving me a
shout out.
Yep. Word. I was working at Duff's. And anyway, my good friend Burt Gregory, who's an amazing graffiti writer by the name of Manic. Shout out to the WoW crew. And his buddy Andre, who's like this guy, he's in the Visionaries. He's like an underground rapper guy. Anyway, long story short, they came to visit me in San Diego from LA. Bert grew up in Portland with me, but he moved to LA, et cetera, et cetera. I was working in the music industry. And they came to visit me, and the beach was just super crowded with like summer party goers and, you know, Midwesterners and shit. But we wanted to watch the sunset so there was like this little alleyway. There was this bridge, right? This little footbridge, right? They roll up a joint. They're smoking the joint. I'm just hanging out. I don't need weed. I'm already weird enough. So anyway, like they're smoking a joint, passing around. I'm hanging out. We're just doing a little slappy grinds on this little curb and some stalls. And all of a sudden I see this beautiful woman taking out these 2 trash bags out of her apartment complex. 2 giant trash bags. She looked like one of those ants when they carry something like 3 times their size, like an insect. And my friend Bert, of course, he's like, I'm going to go talk to her. I'll help her out. I'm like, dude, don't do that. It's creepy. But he did. He started a conversation with her, like threw the bags in the dumpster. she comes out and talks to us. She's just super brave and just outgoing, right? Reminds me of a lot of like Trixie with 23, that personality, just like outgoing, like punk rock, like fuck yeah. She's like, what are you guys doing? We're like, we're watching the sunset. She's like, oh, that's cool. Hey, is there a good bar with a pool table at it around here? And we're like, yeah, like what's going on? She's like, I just moved to this apartment last week. I'm from Iowa. And we're like, dude, we'll take you to this bar called the Embassy. Let's go shoot some pool tonight. So that turned out to be who my wife is now 20 years later.
Wow.
Anyway, we fall in love, exchange numbers, blah, blah. She texts me about a week later and she's like, the mood's beautiful tonight. Now you want to hang on the beach. And anyway, we fall in love. And here we are, fast forward, almost 20 years, whatever, 07, 18 years later, 19 years later. Jesus Christ, I had to think about that. It was November of 06. So whatever, either way. Anyway, round up to 20 years later, we're married. So we went to, fast forward to 09 after that. I did the whole meet the parents thing because I talked to them on the phone, but you know how it is. Parents want to make sure their daughter's not dating a serial killer. I flew back here with her to just, meet the parents and do all that shit and, learn about Iowa. I never been to Iowa in my life. Didn't even know about Cedar Rapids, didn't even know it existed. I knew about Des Moines because of, random punk bands and random, mountain goat songs and things, but nothing, I didn't know much about it other than that, culturally speaking, sadly, to my own interest, to my own accord. But anyway, I get here and I realize there's a huge skate scene. There's amazing street spots, a lot of skaters. And the nearest skate shop was 23 miles away in Iowa City at the time. And I was like, dudes, they're driving 23 miles each way to, get a board if they snap it or get a bearing. And at the time, that shop was just a Zoomies. And, it's a mall shop, whatever, et cetera. We can debate that up the road. But, you get the point. There was nowhere to get stuff instantly. And I broke a bearing at the local park. And I was like, damn it, I got to go all the way to Iowa City to get a set of bearings for $8. This, sucks. That's 40 miles round trip for a set of bearings. So the light bulb went off. I was like, what am I doing with my life? This place needs a fucking skate shop. There's tons of people skating, lots of rippers that aren't getting their shine or their dues, their limelight that they deserve. They're paying their dues and they're not getting the respect that they deserve. And so the sparks went off. And anyway, fast forward to 2012, that was 09. For 3 years, I was, still milking the old has-been pro thing. Airspeed gave me a shoe, and I was able to save up enough money to start my own shop. I won't get the details economically about that, but I put away a hefty amount of money, and I after everything was fizzled out with skateboarding, I got a job at this car dealership that my friend Drew Doran hired me, old filmer for Birdhouse. Long story short, he got me a job in customer service, which, by the way, was the worst job in the world. I don't wish it upon my worst enemies. And anyway, in April of 2012, me and Lindsay, I quit my job at the Ford dealership, and we moved here and we opened up the shop and opened up on June 1st of 2012. And we just had our 14-year anniversary where I just been standing behind a counter, cracking jokes, building skateboards, skating with people, doing what I love and loving what I do, man. Just taking a vow of poverty, being the high priest of skateboarding, and to the trucks, the wheels, and the holy bearings we pray. Boom. That's what I do every day,
Dude, that rules.
Yeah.
14
awesome.
years, man. That's
wild.
It's not only a commitment, but it's also a successful business. I mean, a lot of things don't last that long. We know that.
Oh yeah. It's sad to see all the brands that go in and out where, we carried them. I think of so many deck brands, which I won't even name, that were here for a flash. I carried them. I was proud of them, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're no more. And then people come in, you got a clientele that already likes them. They're like, where are these? Why aren't they here? Oh, I'm sorry, Turf is no more. Whatever, insert, whatever brand. Hella Cool's not around. Whatever. And I can think of that with, everything. I saw so many changes in those 14 years behind the counter. I have no employees. It's just me and the wife. We're literally a mom and pop operations. So, I saw everything on the day-to-day basic, the violent changes, the hostile takeovers, the mergers, the ups and downs with shit like COVID and economic depressions, the weird online mega deals where they're selling 10 boards for less than our cost on one, and weird shit like that was not fun. But big shout out to Jim Thiebaud at Deluxe, who never fucking went into that world and is always respected and helped out shops like us. I would give Jim my kidneys if he needed them, dude. I love that man like a brother. He has done so much for our shop. I cannot even begin to articulate in my vernacular, my vocabulary, how thankful I'm for him being a patron of the local shop, helping out small mom pops. I don't want to, I'm sure he's such a low key, mellow man, but
yeah,
he's done so much for us over the years and countless other shops. I mean, there's so many times where I've talked to other buddies at other shops, we have a sewing circle of everything. And, there'll be a shop that gets a break in, horrible, someone will break in, steal, ship all the stuff. And Jim will just spot them and send them product to, help them out with their insurance claim, whatever. I mean, we could go on. There's a million great stories about Jim. He's the patron saint of small shops. I want to get a votive candle for that motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He does so much for us. And
shout out.
And I just can't even put into words how thankful I'm to that man and what he's done for skateboarding as a whole. Obviously, you know, like from the PAL to the SMA days to Deluxe to, you know, being this awesome, great guy.
100%. Jim's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, you said you saw the Phil Shao documentary, and I'm wondering what your experience, if you had any experiences with Phil or saw videos of him, seen him in person or anything like that. I always like to hype up the guys that were my friends, and he was the pioneer of my friends in skateboarding.
He was such a good man, such a great guy. I was a teenager when I met him, and me and Mike Chin were skating Waterfront Park. I'll never forget it, man. I literally had my JanSport blue backpack, and Waterfront was the hopping spot in Portland at the time, right across the Burnside Bridge from Burnside Skate Park. So it was kind of the warm-up spot. You'd skate there, then go to Burnside, beat the shit out of yourself, et cetera, et cetera. And anyway, I had my blue JanSport backpack, and there's these nice little low to high ledges down there. I'm just doing my normal repertoire of pressure whip bullshit on flat ground. And Phil Shio, just on a solo mission, comes flying through, ollies over my backpack to manual, and then just locks into a beautiful crooked grind on this ledge just for like a zillion feet, you know, and you didn't see that back then, you know what I mean? People just kiss the ledge then, just beautifully pinched, skates through, you know, comes back, power slides, does this beautiful front tail on this other ledge, comes over to me and Mike Chin, and Mike Chin had a rapport with him. He actually met him before and knew him, and Phil knew him by first name. He was like, "Hey, Mikey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Whoa." Mikey was riding for Adrenaline at the time, and you know, they were talking about Adrenaline and you know, all the nuances of that. And I just kind of stand there just listening, like, "Oh my God, it's fucking Phil Shao." And Phil just gives me Nux, "What's your name?" I said, "My name is Nathan," and he was very cool. And this is the best part. I'll admit it, I was your typical teenager. I was trying to show off to my hero, so I was trying to do this backside pressure fakie 50, and I'm bailing. And I'm not paying attention to my backpack, which has my wallet, my bus pass, you know, my whole life, everything you need as a, you know, teenager to get, you know, through the day. And some homeless guy tries to gank my backpack and feels like, hey, motherfucker, you know, like goes up to the guy, and the guy just drops and walks away. He's like, "That dude tried to steal your backpack." I'm like, "Holy shit. Thanks, man." He gave me my backpack, and I was so thankful. I was like, "Thanks, man." He's like, "No problem, man. We got to look out for each other." Like, yeah. He's like, "Hey, I got to get back over to the park." Gives me Nux, skates across the bridge to Burnside. And we just watch him go up the little stairs over by Skidmore Fountain. And he skates across the bridge. I just watched him like, you know, like an old Western scaff into the sunset across the bridge. And I didn't want to stalk him and be weird, but I kind of waited like maybe an hour to cool off, so I didn't look like I was following him across the bridge. And me and Mike kind of skate, had a sesh.
Yeah.
And so it started sprinkling out, but then I had a good excuse now to go there, right? So it started sprinkling. Mike was like, "Oh, let's go to the park." I'm like, "Deal." So I pulled out what we called board condoms at the time out of my JanSport. We had these like big board bags. So, you know, because, you know, back then, you know, a board was like everything, you know, we didn't want to get a drop of water on. So we wrapped our boards in our board condoms. Me and Mike walk across the bridge. We go into the bridge. We go behind the punk wall. We unwrap our board condoms. And Phil's down there with Karma Tochtoff. That was interesting. It was Karma Tochtoff, John Cardiel, Julian Stranger, and a bunch of other people, Choppy Omega, a bunch of other dudes are just ripping, just, you know, tearing transition apart. There's a bunch of other dudes which are kind of foggy, Mark Red Scott, Osage Buffalo, but, you know, a bunch of locals, Pigpen, you know, it's just one of those dream sessions at Burnside. Everyone's just ripping, taking their turns. And Phil just beautifully, just like doing backside ollies over the big hip, like nothing, carving a million miles an hour, using the whole course, not even missing one like spot, just like skating like a surfer, just slash grinding things, and just, you can tell having a fun time doing these beautiful little nollie 180s over that like weird ditch thing that goes to the between the cinder block wall and the little spine, that little hole in the ground. I know we used to always ollie. I don't even know what to call it to this day, but has the manhole cover. And then, you know, he was just doing these beautiful lines. I still remember him like yesterday. And it was so rad, man. Like I remember hanging out and just, you know, watching him rip till the sun went down and it got dark. And at that time, the lights weren't that good down there at dark. And him and his buddies were all just bullshitting and cracking open beers by the van. I just kind of gave them all Nux, you know, kind of like, okay, it's Julian Stranger card. I didn't want to bother them. You know, I didn't want to be a lurker. I didn't want to be a fanboy. And so I said my goodbyes, and then I went over to Cal Skate because they're getting ready to close. And I had some time to kill for the bus 5 Interstate to go back to Vancouver to, you know, so I just kind of bullshit with Paul Fujita, those guys behind the counter there, and was told about how I met Phil. And they're like, "Yeah, he was in here earlier, actually, blah, blah." You know, I was like, sick. I was just such a neat guy. And fast forward that same weekend, that same trip, this is the crazy thing. And actually, I couldn't believe that Cardiel remembered this. I remember it because it's one of those things as a kid I'll never forget. But Cardiel can tell you about this too. It's one of those things where I couldn't believe it when I saw him a million years after this, that he remembered this moment. So fast forward that same weekend, I'm skating the parking lot again, doing my normal repertoire of pressure bullshit back and forth. And Cardiel and Julian are just sitting there on the side of the van. They're all eating a big box of donuts. And I their eyes are dog dick red. I imagine they're stoned. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they had allergies. But, the vibe is munchies and stoners. I could be wrong. But, that's the vibe to this day, I feel. And anyway, I'm doing my normal repertoire of pressure bullshit. And Karma, he yells out, "Hey, I'll give you a free deck if you do 100 pressure ups in a row." And I was like, I'll go for it. Like, why not? Free deck? Like, dude, absolutely. Like, why not? Right. And I got to 82 pressure flips in a row, just the normal shove it ones. And my leg cramps up so bad. Like I had a calf cramp from hell. And my foot's flinching, just doing that gnarly, like electricity thing. I'm on the ground, like breathing all heavy, like just breathing all hard, like feel like I'm going to die. Like, how this when everything's shaking. You're like, you need hydration. You're about to die. But I didn't know that at, 14. Right. And so, anyway, like this is the best thing ever. Phil comes out, Phil and Card and Karma come out with the box of donuts. They're looking down at me and there's like, it's like powdered donuts, there's crumbs on me. I'm laying there. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't get to 100. They're like, we don't give a shit. Here's the board anyway. And this is the funniest thing about this story is that it wasn't really a board from other sponsors. It was Shaft, that weird short-lived brand Shaft skateboards that had like pictures of John Shaft on them and Raven micro form. I don't even know. I think someone must have gave it to them on the road trip and they're just like, what are we gonna do with this fucking thing? We'll just give it to some kid,
Yeah.
And so I get the board, I'm hugging it. And I'm just kind of like, oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Phil just gives me kind of like a thumbs up, like, hell yeah. Phil goes back to skate in the park. Card stands there and just kind of laughs, helps me up, to my feet, and I'll fast forward a little bit so you're not stuck here all till midnight. But anyway, I go to the shop the next day. I go to Cal Skate to grip it, right? And anyway, I take it home that night. My dad worked really long shifts. He would work night shift. Anyway, he comes home thinking I stole the board from Cal Skate because Cal Skate had this little like die cut grip tape, like the Plan B grip tape then of their logo, right? So he calls Cal Skate, calls Howard Wire. He's like, hey, did my son steal a board from you? Because he doesn't believe me I got it for free. Because back then, before Google, you couldn't be like, oh, here's Phil Sheo, dad. Here's, Karma Tashoff. Here's I got a free board because I'm cool. My dad just thought I was a delinquent piece of shit kid that would have stolen a board from his shop. So he thought that like literally that like I stole this thing. I made up this big long-winded story about my new free board that these guys gave it to me because, I don't blame him. I was a hellraiser. But anyway, it was so funny. So like, I go to Cal Skate again, like a week after that, and Howard tells me a story about my dad calling, which I never knew about. And I just started laughing, of course, because, those days you couldn't prove that your favorite pros gave this to you.
Right.
So fast forward like a million years, I'm at the Boost Mobile contest in Vegas. I'm probably in my early 20s. I'm skating the contest, just, huffing and puffing. I get done with my runs and Card is there. And I go up to Card. I'm like, hey, how's it going? My name is Nate Sherwood. Nice to meet you. Or no, I said my name is Nate. Nice to meet you. He's like, you're Nate Sherwood. I'm like, oh my God, Card knows my name. I'm kind of like fucking dumbfounded. He's like, do you remember at Burnside where I gave you a deck for trying to do 100 press-ups in a row? I'm like, yes. And I was just tripped out because I was like, how does Card remember this? Like, I remember, of course, but how the fuck is, out of all the millions of kids he's met and and he just starts talking about him and Phil and Karma and how Julian was like, he's not going to get past 20. He's not going to get past 20. He's going to die at 20. And like, I guess they were like taking bets. Like Karma was like, he's going to get to 30. And Julian was like, he's going to get 20. And Phil was like, just don't say that. Like Phil was like so positive. He's like, he's probably he's going to get to 100 guys. Come on, like positive energy. And I'm paraphrasing, but Phil was like in this like positive guys. Come on, don't wish him bad. Like let's root for the little kid. And I just love that about Phil that he was always rooting for people. I had no idea that he was going to Berkeley at the time. I had no idea. I mean, I knew his tech prowess was amazing. I knew his transition prowess was amazing. And I had no idea he was a college student. I had no idea that he was so into physical therapy and all those things until your documentary, of course. But I'm going to admit it, man. I'm going to admit it, I cried so hard to that documentary. I haven't cried like that in years. I haven't cried like that since my uncle, who I love dearly, died. I heard about it at the time after he died, of course, because it was in Oregon where he passed away in the car wreck. And I remember hearing about it from all the lokes at Burnside. And I remember hearing about it at the time. And, it just broke my heart, man. Cause I met him a couple other times after that, but those are the times that will stick with me forever. A couple of times I ran to him just, in Oregon. But I remember just thinking to myself, God, how the hell do you stay at the top bar of Fort Miley? My first trip to
so gnarly.
Yeah. When I went to Fort Miley for the first time in summer of 1997, after I graduated high school, my 1997 trip, I went down there for my senior trip. Me and my buddy Brandon, his brother lived in Hayward. We flew down Alaska Airlines from Portland to SFO. We crashed on his brother's couch for 2 weeks. That's a long story. But anyway, we went to fucking Fort Miley. I just remember looking at that and being like, how the fuck does anyone get up on this thing? You know, I was just doing little tiny ollies over the corner, trying to figure out how to like play the transition and how to carve it just to get a good lofty ollie. Like, not to brag, but I had a pretty good flat ground ollie at the time. Like, I could get over a full size garbage can and all of the Sean Sheffy toy car for, you know, like my little siblings, like he did for his kid. You know, I thought I was a badass with ollies. And then I got to that thing, I was like, how the fuck did Phil do this? Like, this doesn't seem humanly possible. Like, I looked at that bar so much. I remember my friend Brandon too, Tonto. We both just sat there staring at it for hours, just like how in the fuck did Phil Scheil get up on this thing? Like, we to this day, it doesn't make like, and people have never been there don't understand the gravity, the magnitude of that, how granular insane it is, because how steep it is, how hard it is, how close the bar is, hitting your knees on it. So many things go in the dichotomy of that. I mean, the space between is barely enough to nosebun slide, you know, like I think of 100 Sky Pager and Julian skating the ledge of it. And, you know, all my New Deal heroes skating the hip, you know, the little hip, which I skate because that's the only thing I can fucking do there.
Armando Barajas.
Exactly. Armando Barajas, you know, all those guys. I mean, you name it, you know, all those motherfuckers just ripping that little, you know, little hip. The big hip was so hard, I could barely ollie it. And I'm talking shit ollies, you know what I mean? Nothing like, you know, and so it's beautiful that you brought so much attention to that and the magnitude of that, because I think most people, they become humbled because they've never been to Fort Miley. They don't understand how hard that place is to skate. And
yeah, same as China Banks, which is being demolished right now, which is so
rest
sad.
in peace. It is so sad. And I love China Banks too. I mean, I didn't do anything of note there worth, you know, filming. I mean, I carved it and, you know, I carved around. I did pretty much what Tony Trujillo's son did, you know, just carved, came in fakey, you know, did a couple, you know, carve reverts. I did a little frontside ollie on it, you know, but nothing beautiful, you know, nothing.
Shout out Waylon Trujillo. He's been ripping.
Yeah, props to him. I went to Berkeley Banks, and I remember thinking the Berkeley Banks would be harder than China Banks, but the Berkeley Banks at the tennis courts were actually easier to skate, and I got more tricks on that.
For sure.
On China Banks, maybe eat shit a million times, but I remember going to the Berkeley Banks thinking they'd be harder from the video, you know, the old Julian Stranger and Nodis, you know, shit. And Randy Roy or whatever. But I remember going there and getting like lofty frontside ollies and disasters and slap to tails, you know, whatever, a million other lip tricks on it, and thinking after China Banks, because I remember taking the BART and being like, oh man, China Banks is hard. This is gonna be harder, but I got to go there. And I remember being like, oh my God, Brandon, these are easier as fuck compared to China Banks. It was like China Banks was like running with weights on your ankles, and then going to Berkeley Banks was like easy. It's not easy, but you know what I mean, easier.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, I remember doing like a little trail slide on it, and it's somewhere buried in the internet somewhere, but that was probably the best thing I ever did on the Berkeley Banks. I don't know how people do fence plants and shit there. I died trying to do that. I kept laying on flat and dying. I have no idea how anybody does a fence plant on that thing is a god. Jaya Bondria, fucking dude, how? I don't know how you did that. Jesse Paez, Justin Strubing, any of those guys that did weird shit on that fence.
And then underneath in the parking lot, they got the pole going across, like Raven frontside nose grounded or something.
Yeah, yep. You know exactly where I was gonna go, man. So many, and I remember Big Pants Smallers with Jai Barf did like a blunt to fakie on that at nighttime.
So good.
Oh, rest in peace. He again another car wreck taking someone.
Yeah,
you know,
so many of those.
He was such a nice guy. I only met him once again at Burnside. You know, he's only there. He was leaving right when I showed up, but I just remember, you know, being very stoked and humbled and honored to meet him. He was, but again, another one of those guys. Car wrecks are fucking scary, and it's it's horrible because you know he was so amazing and such a great dude.
What about? Do you got a good Matt Beach story?
Oh man, plenty.
That's what I figured. And Matt Beach is kind of he's kind of like a unicorn. You don't get, I haven't seen him that much, especially in years, but this guy's one of the better skaters of his era, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, absolutely.
Him and Jamie Fortune.
Oh yeah, Jamie Fortune's
they're
amazing.
lurking up there, and Jamie hit Wallenberg a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
Know?
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear that one thing that I always remember about Matt Beach is the 50-50 like coffin grind. Oh my God.
The coffin grind. Yeah. He's an incredible dude, man. You know, I met him when I was 10 years old there was a contest series in Oregon and Washington, and mostly Oregon Amateur Skateboard Association, OASA. And it was like the Oregon equivalent of Castle. And, you know, I met him at that, you know, and I was just entering the contest, you know, whatever. And he was already ripping. He was already on GNS. He was already factory sponsored at the time, just ripping. He was, he was 2 years older than me at that time. Seemed like, eternity. And then I remember I got to know him, through a few contests. And then his parents invited me to come skate his backyard mini ramp. And I skated his backyard mini ramp and his garage mini ramp and hung out with him a few times. And my mom and his mom clicked his homies. And I could go on about Matt Beach for hours. But some of the funny things about him is I'm just going to admit right now, I'm an atheist. Whatever. I'm not religious, but he's very religious. And we always got along because we kind of kept those separate, even through our 20s or, and in our early 30s. But one of the things that was neat about him, or interesting, I don't know about neat, but neat in a neat, interesting way, was he would never skate. He would never destroy property at churches. Like if there was a skate spot that was at a church, he would never skate it because he thought he was like that devout, which was interesting. And he would slam. He'd take the hardest slams. Like I remember trying to switch frontside flip this double set that was really hefty at Laurel Horse School in Portland. And he was slamming, getting swells and bloody. And he would refuse to swear. Like most of them would be like, fuck, shit. He'd be like, oh my gosh, oh shoot. And it was just so sweet now looking back at it, because most of them would be like, God damn it. But here was Matt just like, oh shoot, oh jolly gee. He was like, to describe Matt Beach, no one's ever met him. He is Ned Flanders with a skateboard. Like I think Matt Groening like drew Ned Flanders as like a joke about like Matt. I mean, and he's an amazing skater, accomplished and very nice and humble. He's always very respectful to whatever views are. He's not one of those pushy religious zealots. It's like, you must be this way. I can't hang with you, because Jamie Fortune was a swear happy, pushing over rent-a-cop, angry, like, James Kelch of Portland type guy, but they were best friends. And if Matt Beach and Jamie Fortune get along, then I don't see why this world is so divided now, because I'm all about skateboard tricks, not politics. But when I see people are like, I can't be friends with him because of this or this, and you see it all the time, the Republican, Democrat, whatever, right? I see Matt Beach and Jamie, they are close friends, and I know they'd give each other organs if they needed one, like if they were in surgery. But Jamie is like a fuck yeah, heavy metal, like, rah, I'm pissed, I'm peeling out in the car. Fuck you, you're in a cop. What are you doing here stopping me? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, fuck you, give me a shot of whiskey. And then there's Matt, who, like, as far as I know, never drank a sip of beer in his life. As far as I know, never smoked a joint in his life. Never swore that I saw. If he did, it was, somewhere rare. All the chicks he dated were like through the church, like he was always had this like connection with the skate church, which I always thought was funny, because I used to make jokes to him, and I don't know if he liked it or not, but he was always getting these like super hot chicks. And I was like, where'd you meet her? He's like, church on Sunday. And I'm like, dude, like, like hilarious. I'm like, dude, bro, like that's amazing. Like, I guess I need to go to fucking church. What am I doing in my life? I'm hanging with like some Burnside trog chick with fucking a dip of chew in her mouth. You know what I mean? Like some burly chick that's about to arm wrestle Chloe and Donk. And meanwhile, fucking Matt's pulling some, beautiful woman. And it was just one of those comedic things where, he was always very humble through the GNS days, to the Birdhouse days, to the Firm days. He never got a big head. He was always the type of guy that would take time out of his day to show people how to do tricks. He's one of those people that I admired because he lived his religion instead of being one of those like fire brimstone. Like, I'm not going to point fingers at certain people in the skate industry, but he wasn't one of those guys that would like get on the podium and like, talk about God for 6 hours. He was just like, he kept it very personal to himself. It was a very personal thing for him, but he wasn't one of those guys that was like in interviews, or like, if he had a chance to talk, in 4-1, he wasn't like, yeah, Jesus is Lord and everyone else is going to die and go to hell. He wasn't like, he didn't go Lenny Kirk on the situation. I'm not trying to talk shit about Lenny Kirk, amazing skater, but, he didn't like go crazy like that. Right. Like I remember his 4-1 profiles were the guns of smoking a cigar, singing, this is the Matt Beach profiles. He's like, God, and Matt's got ukulele singing. And so that's what I loved about his Matt, is he could hang with dudes like that. Yeah. But also he had this very, spiritual connection to his God, right? And so what I liked about Matt is he never pushed it on me. He never was pushy. He never was weird. He never got preachy. If you went to a skate spot with him and you ate shit, he would just look at you, observe. He wouldn't like freak out and be like, "Oh, how dare you say the Lord's name in vain? How dare you say God?" When he moved to Southern California, he was off Fullerton Street in Orange County when they were filming the Firm video. Lance Mountain got Matt and Kurt Hayashi a house just to live in. Just a rental house just for them to film the video part. And, Rodrigo and all those other guys would come into town and they'd stay there. It was kind of like the Firm equivalent of the Warner Ave mob, but like not, no booze and nothing, right? All they had was RC cars and Capri Sun, but yet it was the same type of thing, And I'd go there and visit them when I was living down there. And it was just so funny because you had John Humphreys, who was like shooting artsy photos and stuff and like shooting these big campaigns for these big, shoe companies. And you had Matt, who was like reading Bible study. You had Kurt Ash, who's working on his video stuff. And, they all were playing with RC cars. And it was just very comical hodgepodge of people. And I'd crash there if I didn't want to drive back to LA or San Diego and stuff. And Matt was always very accommodating in the morning. Would you like some cereal or granola? Like I said, Ned Flanders, like I was like Bart Simpson and he was fucking Ned Flanders. Here I was just like, but neat guy. I haven't talked to him for a long time. I saw his parents at Kurt Hayashi's funeral when Kurt died of that stroke. And I flew out to Portland to see, to give my respects. And I saw Matt's parents, and you know, I don't know if it's my right to say, but you know, Matt's been going through some health issues, so he wasn't there, and you know, I'll leave that to him to get into the details, of course, but that's why we haven't seen much footage of him. But you know, he's a great guy, a humble guy. He camps a lot. Him and Jamie are still really close. They hang out and stuff like that. He's really into camping now and outdoorsman stuff. And like I said, here's Jamie Fortune, heavy metal dude. You know, and Jamie will admit this. You know, this isn't. You know, he's admit this on social media, so I don't feel weird like I'm airing anything up. But Jamie went through a phase where he was into hard drugs and things like that, and cleaned himself up. And here's him and Matt, still buddies to this day, still camping, hanging out, being friends. And I just wish the rest of the world could see that as an illustration that you got Jamie Fortune who's like, ah, and then Matt Beach who's like, oh, and they're buddies, you know. And I think skateboarding is a beautiful bonding agent. It's like Bondo in that way. It's a catalyst for that, because you get everybody from the Hesh to the Fresh and everything in between. You get everyone from the reborn again Christian Soy to the before Christian Soy in one, you know, focus era Christian Soy, you know, who, you know, I remember seeing Tristan Soy at Burnside when he was at the lowest of low of his drug use. Yeah, you know, silver spray paint Doc Martens, fucking purple hair, fucking, you know, freshly out of a needle nap, fucking eyes just fucking shit, like, you know, like just, you know, uppers and downers, you know, all day, just looking like shit, you know, still ripping the park somehow magically, but
he was the first guy to do the transfer, right? From the thing into the big bowl, right? Like Choppy did it later, but Christian did it first, right?
Yeah, Christian did it first. Like he did it from the where the bank of the spine to the bowl.
That's so gnarly.
Yeah, it was in one of those. I can't remember which video. I want to say it was that one guy who worked for Volcom and did the first Volcom video, but I feel like it was like a whiskey video or it was some weird underground video it was in, or maybe it wasn't a Thrasher video. And I might be mixing up maybe Choppy's was in the underground video.
I think one of them was a content page, maybe in Thrasher.
There it was. It was something like that. Contents. Yep. I saw it somewhere. It's a blur now because it was 100 years ago. But yeah, I mean, and I saw Christian Soy in Sacramento at Capitol Burnout when I was a really little kid. My mom had a good friend that lived in Sacramento, so we took the train down to visit her, and it happened to be the same weekend that Capitol Burnout was going on. So I got to see like Christian as like the rip, like lady killer Christian Soy, like rock star spandex. Like
that was the guy.
Yeah,
man.
he signed my tracker shirt that I had. And he's just like, even though he's an indie guy, he was cool. I was a little kid. He's just like, you know. And then I saw him at Burnside years after that as like the low point Christian, like drug addict, you know, tweaked out of meth, him and Christian Fletcher hanging out. And then I saw him as the reborn again Christian that, you know, is like the clean cut, you know, fedora hair, you know. And I think religion is important to dudes like that because it saved their lives. And that's a great thing. I'm not going to shit on it. I don't need that, but, you know, teach their own, right? Like, obviously, I don't want anyone to shit on me the fact that I fucking love sugar. That's my one only vice. You give me some Oreos, holy fuck, I eat the whole package. You know what I mean? That's my fucking thing right now, man. I try to quit sugar. You know, that's the only thing I can't quit. And
well, you're lucky because you're a skinny guy, man. If I eat too much sugar, I go freaking. I'm the new fatback. I'll take over Joe Brooks' role.
Yeah, take Joe Brook, bro. Fucking love Joe Brook. I love Joe Brook so much.
He's the best.
He is, man. I remember when I was riding for Vision back in the 90s. You know, Vision always wanted to make more coverage. And of course, they weren't going to do anything to help you get coverage. And I was in the Bay Area and I shot a sequence with some poor college student that went to Berkeley. I sadly don't remember his name. I want to give him a shout. Matt Ryan. His name was Matt Ryan. He had a Nikon F5. He shot a sequence shot of me at 3rd and Army doing a hard pressure 50-50 grind, shove it out on the low ledge there, you know, like one of the low ledges. And he developed it and then he gave it to me. He's like, can you use this for a Vision ad? And I was like, yeah, but let's see if we can shop around first, see if I can get like a, you know, article. So I go to freaking Thrasher /Slap. I literally go to the receptionist at the desk. I have the negatives on slides. I'm sorry, slide film, you know. And Joe Brook was so sweet. And it was just so funny. I go in there, I meet Eben Sterling first. He's like, oh, where do you want these to go? I was like, well, I think Slap, because I already had coverage in Thrasher at that point. So I was trying to shock and affect my coverage. I was thinking that side out the box. This is like 1998, right? And I go to the basement. I just remember Thrasher being upstairs, and then down in the basement was Slap, like down these stairs. And I meet Joe Brook. He's like, okay, we'll scan him in. He scanned him in this, you know, the big bed scan or you know, the slide scanner thing. And we're talking. And he's like, hey man, if these don't go anywhere, I'll let you know in a week. All right, we'll talk it over with, you know, me and Lance Dawes and da-da-da. And if we're not gonna use them, then use them for a Vision ad, because he understood that we had deadlines at Vision and shit. I was like, thank you, man. So I took the slides back, and he was nice enough that he was like, you know what, like, if you need anyone to like frame him up or clean up this guy that shot this isn't, I mean, he was very complimentary and diplomatic, but you could tell he was saying this guy isn't the best. His slave flashes are off and this and this. And, he could tell he was trying to be nice to the kid, but also like he fucked up.
Yeah.
And, kind of like it's a thin chance we're going to use him, but I'm going to be nice and entertain the thought. So he takes me over to the warehouse and gives me a bunch of swag, which at that time, clean laundry meant everything. A stack of slap shirts and Thrasher shirts and, a bunch of videos and a bunch of stickers and a bunch of hats and beanies and shit, which kept me warm in San Francisco because, they get cold there, even the summer at night. I remember going to that one bar that the guy from FTC owned with Jimmy Shores, because Jimmy Shores was DJing there. I remember my ears freezing off like that winter and like wearing the fucking slap hat, keeping me warm outside when everyone was taking smoke breaks. And I don't remember the name of that bar.
Ken?
Yeah, Ken. Yeah, Ken.
Yeah. Across from the Thai restaurant on the
yes.
Yeah, that hill that goes down, I forget what street it is, right off Haight Street.
Yeah.
Jake was bombing that hill and he got cut off and ran right into a fire hydrant and got smoked. So anytime we would drive up there, he would always point and be like, I got smashed.
I got smashed right there, bro. Yeah. That's where I fucking ate shit. I love it because I remember that spot being cool was happening, It
was fun for a while. They used to have like all kinds of like, Thursday night was dollar hams or whatever.
Yep. I remember I had a fake ID story, Ken. I was like, 19, but I had a fake Washington State ID and, they let me drink. And I remember meeting women there and skating up to it. And Jimmy Shores was DJing and Satva DJ'd there. And I remember going to Satva.
Leon.
Yeah. I remember Satva on the 1s and 2s and shit. And I just remember that bar being, for me, it was really cool in my drinking days now, whatever. But like, it was, being young and be able, being in the city and drinking and skating around and hitting all the weird spots on Upper Haight Street and hitting, it was just fun. That big ass hill, I remember that. And I remember the Thai food place. I remember going there and getting Thai pan noodles. And
it's one of the best Thai restaurants in the city. I love that place. I think it's called Thep Phenom.
Dude, you are amazing. Your memory is phenomenal, dude. I remember going in there.
I still live here, bro.
Come on. Well, that helps out. That helps out, right? I remember that. And I remember me and this chick at the bar, and she took me for like this rad tour, being the Oregonian I was. I was walking my board, not skating because I didn't want to be in front of her. And she showed me that tower that was a monument to the San Francisco fire. I remember we walked all the way from that bar to that tower. We walked for, it seemed like forever, like miles, but when you're drunk, everything seems weird. And I remember we sitting down there at night and just having a heart to heart and like tripping down on that. I forget the name of that thing. It looks like a fire hose hot nozzle, the big tower thing. I always forget the name of it, but I remember that's when I learned that's what that damn thing was, And we were going up and down stuff. Me and her were hanging out all night. It was like
Coit Tower.
Thank you. I knew you were going to name it. I was like, God, I just remember. But anyway, that bar, yes. Thank you to Ken for helping me. I don't want to be crass. I'm an old married man, but yes, thank you for helping me build relationships with some nice Bay Area women. There we go. I'll just say it that.
Well, Ken's got to be major inspo for you guys as a shop owner. That guy's been doing it really a long time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's kind of, I mean, I don't know if he's the GOAT. There's a lot, but FTC has put out some amazing skate videos.
Oh, absolutely.
They've had amazing teams and they've been on Haight Street in a prime location for who knows how long.
Forever,
in one of the best cities, if not the best city in the world.
Yeah.
So shout out to Ken.
It's the only true city in California. I tell everyone that here because they're always like,
I like that.
Every year I get the 18-year-old that's like, I'm graduating high school. We're in California trying to move. And I'm like, look, man, everything else is just suburbia that masquerades as a city. And this is from living in all three of the major cities there. So I've lived in San Diego, I've lived in LA, I've lived in San Francisco. So if someone wants to battle me, I will fucking go toe to toe on this any day. Like I will be pugilistic about this.
Let's go.
Because every other city that's major in California is suburbia that masquerades as a city, right? It's like North Korea where they're like, there's fake grocery stores and fake skyscrapers and all this shit. But the thing about SF, where it's a real city culturally, where you can get on the BART and you can travel without needing a car. You can live there your whole life and not need a fucking car. And that's what separates a suburbia to a city to me, is a mass transit. If I can get a slice of pizza at 3:30 in the fucking morning, that's a city. Okay. LA has little nuances of that, but still so spread out. If you want to go to a hardware store, you got to get on fucking, the 480 to the 10, right? You got to, if you're in Echo Park, you got to go all the way to the fucking beach to get a goddamn tattoo or whatever. You know what I mean? Bullshit like that. In the city, everything's vertical instead of out. And every other place in California that I lived and experienced, other than the Bay Area 51, was not a fucking city. It was just suburbia with a city masquerading as something that it wasn't. And SF is real. It's got culture, it's got flavor, it's got history, it's got museums, it's got everything you need. It doesn't matter what profession you're in, what background you're in. It's got a little of everything. It's got what you need. It's the taster platter of everything a city has. So when people are like, I want to move to a city in California, like move to San Francisco. If they're like, well, I got a cousin that lives in, Fullerton. I'm like, well, go stay with him for a while, but I'm warning you, it's going to suck. You're going to be spending $8 million in gas. And you have to drive her. Like, for instance, Colin Slew, amazing skater from here, right? He lives in LA. He's like, I can't go here but J-Con because traffic's so bad. If I get off of like, Wilshire and Western, and I want to get on the freeway on the 10, it takes me 6 hours to get a clip. I'm like, dude, just go to the city. You can ride the BART and you can make a video part in a month. Easy. Like you got so many spots. I remember when I was in the city, I dropped my Elevate trucks part, the uprising part, which I know is similar to the name of Santa Cruz. It was before Santa Cruz. They both were around the same time. But the uprising part, I filmed that whole thing in a fucking summer, and it was all riding the BART. It was just hanging out with the boys, the homies that were filming, going to every spot on the BART. I didn't touch a car for that whole video part. And that was why I was like, this is a fucking city. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to fucking drive out to the middle of nowhere to like beat myself to death, in San Jose to make a decent video part. And Portland was like that, but miniaturized. Portland, and again, I don't know about it anymore because I haven't lived there for 20 some years. So forgive me to anybody there that might beg or differ. But the TriMet was a lot like the BART. The Max, all the bus lines were very similar. I had a bus pass till I was 18. I didn't drive a car till I was 18 until I had a job where they required me to. I worked at a construction job. Like, you better get your driver's license or fuck you. So I had to, pony up to do it. But I literally, my teen years was just riding the bus and the Max everywhere. And I learned to skate spots that way, just organically through just going to different spots and beating the shit out of myself and feeling that groove of trying to figure shit out and hearing about different spots from people. And then I'd be like, oh, that's off the bus 9. Okay. That's off the bus 20. You know what I mean? Like, they'd tell me where it was. And I'd look at the map and I'd sit there like fucking like a goddamn guy looking for a Spanish galleon ship in the, Bahamas. And I'd be like, oh, airport banks. Okay. So they're off the bus freaking 19, but I'm gonna have to go up Powell Boulevard and transfer in Sandy. Okay, I'll skate down this bike trail. Then I'll go behind the Burger King and I'll skate that spot Neil Henning skated in fucking beer helmet, like whatever, you know what I mean? So it was like, that was the kind of shit that like, I was doing all the time, you know what I mean? Like, was that, and I missed that when I got, I'm gonna say drafted to go to California. That's a horrible word, but and it felt like a draft to Vietnam. Like when Vision was like, we're gonna either get rid of you, you're going to need to move to California because this is where all the coverage. Blah. So I moved to Southern California because, that was where the rent was cheap. And I had a buddy that was a friend of mine that was trying to become an actor. Actually, he did. That's mean. Eric Berry, I love you. Sorry, that sounded horrible. He was in Cecil B. Demented. He played Fidget in that. That's his big role with the Donnie Darko guy, him and Donnie Darko, whatever the fuck that guy's name is. They were in a movie together. Whatever, Gyllenhaal. But he was in a John Waters film. He's in a bunch of shit. And that was very rude. I love you, Eric. Sorry, but he was my roommate. We lived together. He was trying to make it happen. I was making it, I was fighting in the skate industry to make it happen. He was fighting in the acting industry. He was like the SAG guy, practices his lines every night, going for auditions, getting his ass kicked. He was in a million like toothpaste commercials and shit. And I was in there like just, every paycheck that I had from Vision and Unleashed Clothing, and all these other fucking cheese dick sponsors all went into my bills. But it was the most fun I had in my life. I won't trade for anything. You know what I mean?
Night Sherwood eduskating the world. Night Sherwood.
Yes, sir. Hey, I got an idea real quick. This is going to be the first ever live bathroom break.
Oh, cool. I love it.
I'll be back in 33 seconds after we hear from Blood Wizard and Blue Plate, my sponsors.
Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard. Shop.bloodwizard.com.
Tickety tack.
Hey, it's Corey at Blue Plate, 3218 Mission Street. Come see us. Meatloaf, fried chicken, deviled eggs, Dollar Olympia beers. We're here every day of the week. We got a garden and we got smiles on our faces. Come let us make you happy.
Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard. Shop.bloodwizard.com.
Tickety tack.
Hey, it's Corey at Blue Plate, 3218 Mission Street. Come see us. Meatloaf, fried chicken, deviled eggs, Dollar Olympia beers. We're here every day of the week. We got a garden and we got smiles on our faces. Come let us make you happy.
Blood wizard. Blood wizard. Blood wizard. Blood wizard.
Shout out. Shout out.
There you go, guys.
Dope.
A little longer than 33 seconds, but
Hey,
know,
dude.
we do our best. And Tommy Guerrero says,
I love blue plate. I love blue plate. I love.
Yeah. Hey, when you got it, you're a skate. You got it. You're a skate. You know what I mean? That's
hey, so
that's
we're gonna
irritating, you know.
I'm gonna ask you two more questions, and then we
Please.
got some cameos. We got some big time cameos, guys. So stick around.
All
I
right.
got some people that are gonna come in and ask Nate some questions, and you probably have seen them or heard of them. But before we get into that, I got two things I wanted to talk to you about. One is the Robin Big thing. I'm not totally sure on this. Like, do you got beef with Rob? Did you guys work it out? Like,
I mean,
the thing you just dropped looked weird. Like maybe you were disrespected a little bit. I don't even know the whole story completely. Like, was that a tryout to be on the show, or was that actually the show?
so that situation was very comical. To rewind before that, to give you, I guess, a little bit of background on it, was
Yeah.
when Rob was living in Carlsbad off Palmer Airport Road in a rental house. This is a zillion years ago. I was skating the KOTF and the DCTF all the time, you know, because there was just a bunch of fun places you would get busted. And I would like to think we befriended each other pretty well. And he was like, "You're really comical, man. You're really funny. Like, I'm working on this pilot for a show. It's going to be like me and Big. It'd be sick to be like you. And we're like, we're just going to do, you know, shenanigans and, you know, hijinks. And I was like, okay, cool. Sick. Like, whatever, right? And then he just kept saying that for like 2 years, dude. And there's a million reasons I quit drinking, and a million reasons I think anyone out there should think twice before they say dumb things drunk to anybody. Partially my fault, partially his fault for not being mature, but we're both at fault, you know, for this divorce of friendship, if that's like a rare term, you know. But anyway, I was shacked up by the chick that was in England at the time. And don't ask me why. I was an insane person. But I flew over to England after 2 years of him threatening that he was going to have a show, and just I felt kind of like he was crying wolf. I didn't think it was going to actually happen. He calls me up. I had an international plan. You know, I'm in London. I'm on an international plan. You know, I'm on the little Nokia. This is, you know, pre-iPhone. And he's like, "Hey, Nate, I need you to fly back to the States. We're shooting the pilot. We're going to make this happen. Like, it's going to happen." And I was drunk and I was kind of teasing. I was like, "Oh, bullshit. You've been saying it for like 2 years." Like, I was just kind of like, I'm not going to get on a fucking flight and find out it's going to happen. Like, I'm living the dream here. Like, I was shacked up with this chick out there. And I literally thought I was going to defect. I was literally about to become an English citizen, defect from the United States. I was literally just going to like just disappear in England and, you know, freaking hang out at, you know, freaking Slam City Skates every day or some shit, you know, and try to find a day job as a bartender. But anyway, long story short, freaking, he's like, "You need to fly back on." And I was drunk and I said some dumb shit and he hung up on me. So anyway, fast forward about 6 months. Obviously the show is aired now. It's taking off. He's got a TV show, right? I break up with that chick. I get back to the States about a year from the phone call, roughly, give or take a few months. And the first season's wrapped up. It's done. And he calls me up. He's like, "Hey man, let's bury the hatchet. Like, yo man, like, you know, we should hang out and just, you know, chop some things up and yada yada, like, you know, bygones be bygones." And I fell for it. It was just a lure to ostracize and to condescend and to be pugilistic, which I'm not that way. When someone greets me with daggers, I like to greet them with flowers. I'm not a warlike person, but when provoked, you know, I don't want to get pushed over, right? So, you know, like he acts like on the phone that's all gonna be hunky dory. Look, like Chris is gonna Chris and Scott are done. They're getting out of the show. They want to get out of the showbiz thing. They got their own deal. They're going to do with their clothing company. How about we bury the hatchet and we have you come on and you're going to be the new assistant. And originally, I'm not even joking. You can ask him about this. He's not going to lie about it. It was originally going to be like Rob, Big, and Nate show. Like literally, I was going to be, you know, titled in there and stuff according to him. And yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, it's crazy. I was, you know, supposed to be that much of a part of it, which is really weird and surreal looking at now. and you can ask him about it. He'll admit to it. He's admitted to it. He did a Transworld article with Eric Stricker after this talking about that. And there's cited articles that you could dig out from that time period where he talks about that and how I fucked up. And anyway, so I'm thinking everything's cool. So I drive up to LA and freaking I come over to the house, and it was just like this kind of like, they edit out a lot of that. I mean, they edit for TV, but it was like this condescending bullying, like, oh, you got to do this now. I wanted you to clean this. And you fucked up. You left it for a girl. He was just basically trying to like ostracize me on camera to get my goat. But I wasn't gonna be one of those reality show assholes like the ones you see on TV all the time. Where they're like, fuck you, man. I don't want to be like the rich wives of the NBA.
Puck.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know who that is, but I didn't want to be like one of those shocked out frat guys like what happens in the real world and they all live together and this guy.
Yeah, Puck, Real World's SF. That was the bike messenger guy.
There you go. I did not want to be that guy. So I left gracefully. And then he calls me up again. And I'm like, dude, you're just a short man. Like, he's a small man, big mouth. Like, literally, Ian MacKaye wrote the song prior to this a million years ago. Like, he is literally what Minor Threat was talking about. Small man, big mouth. He dishes out, but he can't take it. He's got thin skin as fuck, but he acts like, he's one of those guys that can just dish it out to anybody as long as he's in the position of control. But if you throw it back at him and, call him a fucking douchebag or, someone, that's got insecurity issues, then he's going to fucking flip. So I don't want to say it's beef. I just think what it is the guy needs to fucking grow up,
So he never apologized or tried to make it right.
It was one of those situations where like, after that, I just kind of was like, fuck this, and then there was another thing with the Fancy Factory where I thought we're going to make up and be cool. But he was talking about, I don't know, fucking, one of those fucking Palf brothers wanted to get a job. So he came over to my apartment in San Diego, like kind of surprise attacked me. And we talked about my hernia surgery, which I just had. And I thought he was going to make up. But again, it was just more about like how, he was just trying to make an example of how you could fuck up in life and be like me if his cousin quit. And again, it wasn't really a makeup. I thought that was going to make up. I gave him 2 chances to make up and he didn't. So yeah, that's pretty much it with me and Rob,
Okay.
I was on another episode. Yeah. Like I said, Fancy Factory. I was on 2 episodes or whatever. Or no, I think they both made it only to the special features or some shit. I don't know. Some weirdos, like they record that stuff with the TV and they send it to me. And
I saw that.
I never actually watched the, what do you call it? The actual show. I've never actually watched the whole episode or anything. I mean, I get the premise.
Same.
And, so it's one of those things where like people have sent me random things, like DM me and inbox me and, hey, I saw this on this. What's the deal? And so I explained it. And then I had a friend of mine who's my mechanic that works in my car here. And his wife was a big Ron Big fan. So I uploaded to my YouTube because I was like, here you go. That explains it, because I was like, whatever, like this explains my history better than I can with words. I think a lot of times actions speak louder than words. And it's easier just to be like, why are you and Rob not cool? Well, here you go. Here's the episode, right? So I'll upload this. So it explains it better than I can, even though I'm one of those people where like, I think truth has more meaning than anything else in this world. And I feel that like, a lot of people, if they feel ostracized or hurt, they want to cover up that and like extinguish it like politicians. Me, I don't. I'll wear it on my chest. Here's what happened. Here's the course of action. Hell, I'll even post this. I'm like Geico. Hey, I'll tell you about your competitors. If they can save you money, go for it. That's how I am. Like when people want to know why I have bad blood with them.
We call it an open book.
I'm an open book. There you go. And it's like, I don't hate the guy. I like to think now 20 years later, he's grown up. He's married. He's got libraries in his name and shit. And he started Street League and sold that and did all these things. And, he's one of those strange, obtuse anomalies where, when I was a little kid, I looked up to him because, I remember watching Memory Skiing and seeing his part,
Alien Workshop.
Alien Workshop, you know what I mean? Skating all those like lily pad spots in Ohio and just being like, this guy rips. So when I met him, it was kind of cool and we seemed really cool. But then once he got some fame, it just made his head fucking big and he got really strange after the fame. And he does not like it when someone fucks him over, which I did. And I didn't mean to. It wasn't intentionally. I was an alcoholic. I mean, we'll just be honest, and I mean, that was my own fault for being a drunk asshole. And I guess you could say being too loose with my words and not, being proper.
I blame the alligator.
Oh, the alligator. Yes, that's your face. Yeah, I don't think you like the alligator too much. Do that fucker on the roof. I brought him over for media. I thought it'd be a nice little
that didn't go over well, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think it did either. He was pissed off about the alligator. And I brought the alligator over for the dogs as like you don't bring a friend flowers, you don't bring them chocolates. That's what you do with chicks when you fucking get a fight. So I thought, okay, what can I bring him up there that'll be cool for the dogs or something he doesn't have? The fucker's rich, so it's like I can't bring him like, like I don't know, a 12-pack of beer or some fancy cheese or something because he's rich, right? So I was trying to think of something unique. And at the time I thought, a big stuffed alligator. Dogs love that kind of shit. They love to play with toys and strangle them and, hump them. You know what I mean? I was just trying to think of something for the dogs, something a bit unique, something that every person needs when they have a dog. So I think that's what it was with Etouffee, the Eduskator, and they edited that to make it a little bit, to make the dagger look sharper than it was. There was a lot of play between that and that.
I bet. I know how that works.
It is a reality show.
You edit all the stuff to make a story. Yeah, go take a trip to Acapulco says, I never watched a whole episode. It's like something tainted real skating and videos. So there you go. That's what our audience thinks. I want to know real quick too what you thought, because I know you tuned in a little bit last night. Clyde Singleton, that episode was one of my I love Clyde first of all, and McKenny is like, this is the Richard Pryor of skateboarding. Like, this guy is just hilarious. He should have stand up. He should have his own show. He should there's so many options that this guy should be taken on, and I feel it's a privilege for me, an honor that he and I have a good relationship, and he's willing to talk to me in those circumstances and open up the way he did. And meanwhile, he's in this hardship and he's still cracking everybody up, telling you his horror story. I mean, that's an individual that is just, he's very special. And I love Clyde. So I was wondering what your favorite parts are.
I mean, my God, I used it as a quote today in the shop. Your ego is not your amigo. I love that quote. I mean, that was genius. That, that was poetry in its purest form right there. Like you said, he's willing to be vulnerable. Just like Richard Pryor, McKenny has a good simile there because, Richard Pryor would do stand-up comedy acts about a lot of his hardships and his adversity and strife. And I love that Clyde is happy where he is in the world. He's a person that's generally excited and happy what he does. He's a culinary expert. He's an amazing chef. He's like the guy in the Bear. He makes these beautiful plates of food. He has passion for video making. He's passionate for journalism. I love his journalism. I mean, I don't think I would be on your show doing the little segment I'm doing if it wasn't for him and the Street Scott piece that he did that, it tied into Cedar Rapids. So, I mean, a crazy wraparound connection of Clyde and Cedar Rapids, Iowa, which is a weird thing to think about, a guy from Jacksonville, Florida being connected to, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. But this guy, Kevin Lavely, who is a longtime customer of mine, and he's in his mid 60s. He's like, just imagine an old Ron Allen type guy. But Ron Allen's an amazing skater. I'm not trying to shit on Kevin, but Kevin's, he's more of a soul cruiser carve, all up a curb here and there guy. Yeah. And Kevin Lavely was roommates with Street Scott. And he always talks these wonderful stories about Street Scott, him and Street Scott hitchhiking from here to Minneapolis, then later on hitchhiking down to San Francisco and yada, yada. And then Street Scott getting a job at Thrasher and being on the cover of the mag in '82. And, he has all these beautiful stories about Street Scott. And I didn't know anything about Street Scott except what Kevin Lavely told me about and the little amount of coverage he brought him. And then Clyde Singleton posted that beautiful article, beautiful piece. And I wish there was a word in my vernacular better than beautiful, because it was just an amazing, well-documented and cited piece on Street Scott on his Instagram about how, Mark Gonzalez cited Street Scott as the inventor of handrail skating. My whole life, it was always Gons, Johnny Kopp, Nodis, right? These are the three guys, the Mount Rushmore of the start, the spark, the nucleus of handrail skating. And I think about how handrail skating now is everywhere, right? It's like, it's in surfing. They put handrails in waves, or they put them in mountains for snowboarding. They put them in, weird wakeboard events. Every skate park known to man from here to Calcutta and around the globe 100 times has a built-in flat bar handrail, right? And I always accredit as, oh my God, God's invented such a crazy monolith of a thing. Even old people that are 80 are like, do you ride down the banisters on your skateboard? I saw a guy on TV doing that, Yeah. But it all started from a guy from Mason City, Iowa named Street Scott. And that's just beautiful to me that I live in a place in this small town in Iowa, an hour away from me. The guy that invented handrail skating went to Golden Gate Park and caveman to handrail and started all this. Had Kevin Thatcher shoot the photo, bam. And I never knew the importance of it because, and I love Kevin. He knows I've said this to his face, so this isn't gossip. And if he watches this, he'll understand. But Kevin Lake was just like an old stoner, like, Grateful Dead guy.
That's the guy.
You know what I mean? Yeah. KT.
No, before you continue, KT, Kevin Thatcher, he created this.
Oh no, I'm talking about Kevin Lavely. I'm sorry.
Oh,
No,
my
I'm
bad.
talking
My
about, I'm talking
bad.
about Kevin Lavely. The guy is in my town. But yeah, Kevin
Okay.
Thatcher. Yes, I love Kevin Thatcher. And go on about the logo. Please educate the audience. I know about Kevin Thatcher too. Sorry, they're both Kevins. But yes,
Yeah,
Kevin
I
Thatcher.
was just gonna say he made the Thrasher logo and was
Yeah.
the first editor and just
Right.
huge inspo for me
Of
and
course.
probably everybody. So
Oh yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of Kevin Thatcher. Huge. And I mean, I have that Street Scott frame cover up there, and you know, I'm trying to find a place on the wall for it right now. In fact, if you got a second, I can go grab it and bust it out right now.
let's grab it.
Let's grab it. I'm gonna do it right now. All right, my man.
Night Sherwood's eduskating the world.
I love Mr. Neil Blender, man.
Whoa, slow it down. Yes, now we're back.
Okay, and we're back.
Yay, buddy!
Mind blown.
I love blue plate.
Yes, now we're back.
Okay, and we're back.
There we go, my man. Check it out. Street Scott. Bam. This thing still smells like cigarettes. It's amazing.
Wow, that is nice.
Isn't that sick? So Kevin
Mhm.
Lavely, his old roommate, gave this to me. Street Scott sadly passed away of liver failure back in 2010.
Mhm.
And so he didn't have any kids or any next of kin. And Kevin Lavely, his roommate, you know, basically Street Scott's dad was just like, I don't want any of this old skate shit. So Kevin Lavely inherited the leather jacket he was wearing in the caveman photo. He inherited his old shred sled, a Dwayne Peters, Santa Cruz. He inherited all his gear. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to give you the one, because he has a stack of these mags, but he gave me the one framed one that was hanging on the wall in their apartment, you know, like when he got back into town after being an SF and stuff.
That rules, dude. You got it all
Isn't that cool?
framed.
So yeah, but you know, big thanks to Clyde Singleton for being a real journalist and bringing that to light. And the other thing that's crazy is the fact that, you know, Kevin Lavely, who's a very stoic man, a very quiet, you know, like I said, a Jerry Garcia type guy. I've never seen him tear up. When I showed him that article that Clyde wrote on him, he literally cried. It's the only time I've seen that guy ever tear up. Like he literally was just like, and so Clyde brings beauty to this world. He brings real journalism, you know, unbiased, you know, unfiltered. He also brings comedy. He also brings his amazing skate talent. I mean, come on, he was the first guy to ever do like, you know, switch flips over, you know, LA picnic tables, you know, 100 years before everyone does them now. You know, I'm not trying to insult him, but Clyde was ahead of his time. I mean, I loved him in the aesthetics days. I loved him in, you know, you name it, all New York, etc. All the other sponsors between that. I was always a fan of Clyde, even when he had the article in the skateboard mag where he was writing those really funny columns, and people would try to stir the pot with me because I always looked at him as a comedian, and I think he should do stand-up. I think he should show. I agree completely with you and oh my God, fucking McKinney. But I love comedy, and obviously you can tell I'm a very sarcastic human being. I like to laugh. You know, he would write articles, and sometimes he would say some funny shit about me, like Nate Sherwood's out there making his tail, you know, razored out enough that he can work for Gillette, you know, making razors. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I love it. Other people were trying to stir the pot. He's trying to insult you. I was like, I don't give a fuck. That's great. Like, I love a good roast. I love a good roast. I never thought
Absolutely.
you know, like you said, your ego's not your amigo. When you see these old guys, like when he was talking about Chet Childress, and I'm not trying to talk shit about Chet Childress. I don't know him anymore. I knew him back in the day. When I Eric Stricker at Transworld had me, I don't know, write a few articles for shits and giggles. And one of the things I did a review on a Black Label video. And it was, I don't know. I just remember Chet Childress at the premiere of it at La Pluma Theater get up on stage and being like, this video is real skateboarding. This ain't no bullshit gimmicky crap like jumping out of a helicopter or jumping to the Grand Canyon. Basically talking shit about Bob Berquist and Danny Way in his speech, right? And I'm like, wow, that's some ballsy shit. You gotta have some big balls. And also you better back it up with a video part that can, I mean, if you're gonna fucking shit on Bob and Danny, you gotta have like one hell of a video part to back that up if you're going to do that route. Which, you know, I don't recommend that to anybody because Danny Way is fucking God and Bob is insane. And, you know, I mean, that's the most beautiful way. They're both amazing. And so in my little review of the Black Label video, I said that. I said, well, at the speech, you know, of the intro of the video, Chet Childress got on stage and, you know, said exactly what I just told you. And yada, yada. I was like, but his video part, we skated a Jersey bear off a big drop of this traffic was pretty risky and pretty amazing. Quite the character, you know. And then I went on to talk about the other people in the video, you know, and Ben Gilly or whatever and everyone else. And anyway, I see Chet Childress maybe. Well, no, actually, no. I'm sorry. I saw Matt Mudford. Jesus, I'm an idiot. I saw him at Mudford like maybe a month after that. And I saw him at this bar called the Saloon in Encinitas. It's just this shitty fucking bar that Adrian Lopez owns a part of.
I know that one. Yep.
Yeah,
We used to call it X Games the bar.
Oh, that makes sense. It is. It's like it is X Games the bar. It's just a bunch of fucking surfers and snowboards and skaters.
Yeah.
Congregating there, all fucking sharing herpes to random women. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh no, you got herpes from her too. Sick, bro. Check out the wart. I'm trying to be comedic. I dropped in switch stance paddles on her too. High five, Resco brothers. But like, anyway, I see Matt Mumford. He like wants to brawl me, bro. Dude, I get my ass kicked.
Matt Mumford, mate.
I mean, that guy's got a bald head. He's ripped.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with him.
I met a chick, and I was just like trying to I'm being honest. I was just trying to get laid. I wasn't trying to get beat up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just there for the same reason every other piece of shit, loser pile shit like me was there. And fucking, Mumford comes, he's like, "What you said about my buddy Chet was not very kind. Like, we need to step outside and talk about this." He's like poking my chest. I'm like, "No, dude, I'm not stepping outside for nothing, man." Like, I met this girl. Like, you have fun out there, like with all your hostilities. Like, can I buy you a drink? He's like, "No, I boxed somebody." He's like, "You can't buy me a bloody drink." Oh, like, boxed over my drink, all pissed. It was like the scene in Star Wars, bro. Like Matt Mudford was like,
"Oh my god!"
Either like, I feel like I was just like, dude, I was like, "What the fuck," So he goes out the front. Eventually, I go out the back door because I don't want to die because Matt Mudford is not in my weight class. Like, it has a bald head and like I have nothing to grab onto, and I don't have a garbage can to throw at him, and I don't need to die. And so anyway, like Chet Childress hits me up. This is back in the MySpace days. Like he writes this big thing like, "Fuck you, skateboarding hates you, nobody in skateboarding likes you, everyone in skateboarding wants you gone or dead." Just writes this big mean fucking thing. So I copy his inbox to me on MySpace, and I change everything where he put skateboarding to the football team. The football team does not like you. The football team does not want you around. Everybody in the locker room hates you. So I changed to make him look like a jock, and I sent it back to him, and that pissed him off even more. And so he's like, "Fuck you. If I see you, we're going to throw hands." I'm like, "Okay, Chet Childress, whatever, dude." Like, you got obviously insecurity issues. If you're not, the thing is, like, if you're going to talk shit about Danny Wayne Barbergus, you got to back it up. You can't, like, get mad at someone for, like, writing an article on it because if you're going to say that, you got to know it's going to become public knowledge and public information if you're going to say it in a public setting on a stage. Like, right now, I think I say publicly on this fucking thing right now, if someone says, "Nate Sherwood was talking about womanizing women in a bar," I'm going to be like, "How dare you? Oh, my God. You said I was a dickhead in the 90s. It's like, of course I was a dickhead in the 90s. I was fucking 19 years old and horny. Of course I was womanizing. What do you think I was fucking doing? Like, I was the only straight guy in fucking San Francisco. Of course. What the fuck else do you think I was doing? You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. I'm exaggerating. There's a lot of straight guys. But you know what I mean? Like, I know I'm just trying to be comedic, of course, attempting in my hand. But it was like Chet. So Chet's always had this beef with me. So like when I saw that post that Clyde was talking about where he's like, "I need a job. No one likes me in skateboarding anymore." I'm like, wow, this is the guy who told me I was 86 from skateboarding. Huh. I didn't say anything. I was polite because I'm an adult. I'm fucking almost 50. I'm not going to be like, I didn't say shit. I just watched and said, interesting. So Sun Tzu said it best. When you wait on the riverbanks long enough, you'll see the bodies of your enemies float by. And hatred doesn't get you anywhere, man. You know what I mean? And like, I had nothing against Chet. It was 20 years ago. He was probably drinking a lot. I was probably drinking a lot.
I think alcohol had a lot to do with all of that stuff, and I think everybody got older. Chet's a friend of mine, and he went. He's gone through some stuff, and I think he's trying to like do. We all, like you said, 19 years old, drinking alcohol. A lot of things happen that we're not proud of.
Yeah,
but dude, look at this guy, wary wayward wanderer. Support Eduskate and skater owned. Iowa is lucky to have him, and Nate's a fucking G. Don't bring your mail order Temu setup into Eduskate.
Yeah,
I like that one. That awesome. Might be the comment of the night right there.
The Temu setup. That's awesome. Big shots to Josh Pakey. I know exactly who that is. Wayward Wanderer is an amazing, incredible skateboarder. He's a local here. Big shots to you, Josh. I know him very well. He actually helps me, like when Lindsay can't work the counter with me on Saturdays when she has to go to like funerals or weddings, he actually will jump in with me and help out. And he's an incredibly talented dude. He's like one of those guys that can thread the needle between a wall and a handrail and 5-0 grind a big scary handrail where there's only this much space and fucking switch frontside flip anything and lip slide anything. He skates 100 miles an hour. Amazing scary. It means a lot to me. One day he was in here, so I know he's referring to. One day he was in here hanging out with me, and some guy comes in literally with a box. It's like CCS box with everything. He just wants to pay me to put it together. And I'm like, fuck you. Send that back. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm not gonna put together your shit you bought somewhere else. And Josh is laughing. And my wife, she was the good cop. I was the bad cop. I was like, no, fuck you, leave. Like, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to talk to you. And my wife's like, hey, if you give me $20, I'll put that shit together for you. And the guy's like, okay. And we just started laughing because they're like, you know, here's my wife putting together this CCS complete for this guy. And so, yeah, that happens all the fucking time, sadly, which is ridiculous. It makes no sense to me. I don't go to Burger King with a bunch of stuff I bought at the grocery store and said, hey, can you cook this up for me and put it together for free? Can you do that for me? I went to the grocery store. I went there and I want you to make all this. So, like,
I got to mark that one.
Yeah. You know, I don't do that shit. You know, like, why is it okay to do that in the skate shop? But if I went to fucking the nearest coffee shop with ground coffee and this mug and said, hey, can you put this in here and do it all for free? They'd fucking shoot me. They'd punch me in the dick hole. They would seriously take that steamer, shove it in my urethra and fucking steam my bladder out of me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like skateboarders are fucking sometimes the biggest, thickest skulls I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, big shot to Josh. He's a fucking homie. He's a legit motherfucker. That guy should have been pro. He's one of those guys where he holds Iowa down hard. He's tempered like Iowa steel, man. It doesn't matter how cold it is or how hot it is. That guy skates in the weather. It could be 20 below. I see that guy out there ripping. It could be 500 degrees out, you know, Kelvin fucking surface of the sun. He's ripping. He doesn't give a fuck. He's a hardcore Iowa motherfucker for sure.
Well, we're going to have to give him a Greg Carroll proper
shout out.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Shout
fuck yeah,
out.
man. Good shit.
Okay,
man.
well, listen, guys. We are getting to the finale here, and I got a star-studded cast of people about to ask questions. And I just want to say, screw Robin Big. You got Schmit and McKenny. So,
man,
here we
I fucking
go.
love Shane McKinney.
And here's the first question from the one and only Timothy Donald McKenny.
What's up? This question's for Nate Sherwood, aka the Lord of the Pressure Flip. I wanted to know what you guys ever did with the Gleaming the Cube board. That thing came out so fire. What an art project. I figured you guys donated it to the children or sold it or it's hanging in the shop. I just wondered what happened to it. Pure artist, state buyer.
That's awesome. I'm honored. It's actually hanging in the shop. I can grab it. That's cool. Lindsay Positive, my wife, is she's an amazing artist. I know I'm biased because I married the woman, love her more than anything on this earth, even more than myself. But one winter we were snowed in and bored, and we were watching Gleam the Cube. She's like, I bet I could replicate that. And she literally silk screened the board, like rattle can the black. Went to a good friend of ours, Sean, that does metal fabrication, made all the metal pieces and the diamond plate. And she actually made 10 of them and sold them like through our website. And then she couldn't source the diamond plate anymore that was the right gauge to bend. So we stopped making them, but I do have the original one here. I will go grab it for you right now, dude. I'll bring it out, man. Right, this is for my homie McKenny right here, homie.
Night Sherwood's eduskating the world.
Yeah, you
Who can it be? Who can it be? Who can it be? Who can it be? Who can it be?
Where in the fuck is McKinney?
Sick medics. All right, buddy. Woo!
Yes, now we're back.
Okay, and we're back.
Yeah, there it is, McKenny. This is the OG one. My wife chills with it sometimes. And then these rails are billet metal. They're literally they were cut out of a solid piece of aluminum on a CNC machine. The graphic my wife literally took from frame grabs from the movie with her cell phone. She did frame grabs, took pictures of it, went to the silk screening press on the carousel, like literally burned a screen of this, like had to like redraw the image. And she made it. And then of course we just use these generic like high polished chrome plated aluminum trucks because they had to be shiny, and then of course the generic black wheels. It's really dusty right now. It doesn't look as good as it did, but you know what I mean. That's it, dude.
That rules. Yeah,
fucking weighs a ton. Yabba, you're in the cube, bro. Let me make sure the wheels are fast. We gotta keep up with those guys. We're gonna avenge the death of my brother right now.
You got questions. Nate's got answers.
I do, man. I got your back.
That's how it works over here.
But yeah, we there's 9 more of those floating around in the world somewhere that Lindsay sold years ago on the website.
If you have one of those, take a photo, send it in, and I'll send you a hoodie. How about that?
No way. You hear that?
Yes.
A hoodie for anybody else.
Let's
That's
go.
rad.
Let's
That's
go.
awesome.
We
That's
got
awesome.
another question
Yeah.
coming in.
Thank you,
This
McKenny.
is
Love you,
next
bro.
week's guest, RJ Ryan Johnson, aka the Architect.
Oh, hey, Greg. Oh, you paint? Hey, I hear you're interviewing Nate Sherwood. I have a question. Ask him, is he stoked he's writing a song with architect Akashic? And why? And who can it be? Does he know Starman Cottonwood Tree? And how long? This is RJ.
Who can it be?
I love RJ, man. He's like a brother to me, man. I first met RJ at Tampa Pro in 2000, and we clicked and became friends and skated, obviously the course and whatnot. And then it turned out that his girlfriend at the time later became his first wife. She was moving to Vancouver, Washington, the same suburb of Portland I was living at the time, to go to flight attendant school, because there's a huge academy there for Delta that teaches, all the nuances of becoming a flight attendant. So she was moving up there like within a month. So he's like, dude, I'm going to come visit her. We're going to hang out. So he came up and visited, and I actually ended up filming a lot of his 7-year glitch part. So I was behind the camera, a lot of the Portland clips you see, a lot of that Burnside and Lincoln High School, the kickflip over the rail and the kickflip wall ride. I filmed a lot of that with my high 8 Sony camera, and then they let it hang with those in 3 chip, but like a lot of his 7-year glitch part I filmed. We went all over Portland, Vancouver, and we befriended each other, and we drove around in my Saturn to a million skate spots and hung out with a lot of people and skated a lot of shit, and we became really good close friends. And I even took him to the hospital. He cracked his head at Burnside and had a big goose egg, and so I had to take that's my homie. Fucking that's the dude of the Vagabond pool. And so anyway, after that summer was done and his chick moved back to Fresno, I went down to Fresno to visit him. I never skated a real pool before. And speaking of the Vagabond, we drove. My God, my friend John has a madhouse. We drove. I forgot this. We drove down to Fresno and we just crashed on his couch for a few days and we skated like backyard pools. And I learned the ancient art of backyard pool skating. Here I was on a 775 with 50 millimeters, like rock and rolls in the deep end of the Vagabond and carving over lights and skating shallow ends and, kick turn grinding shit and, like whatever. It was fun. I learned the art of a real backyard pool versus, all the faux bowls and stuff I've skated in parks and, normal transition, made to skate stuff. So that was my first experience with real pools, not, like a skate park pool, but a real motherfucking pool. We went jump some fences and skate some pools. Me and RJ hung out. We watched Tin Soldier and Con Air and shit. And it was great.
You got some history then. I didn't realize all that.
Yeah, me and
filming New Deal clips and shit.
Yeah, I filmed a bunch, and I was really honored. RJ gave me the opportunity. My name was in the credits, and we hung out a bunch in Fresno. And we'd hung out from time to time in other random places and other places, low stations around.
That handrail you did in Fresno is legendary.
Yes,
I think Nigel just 5-0'd it maybe recently.
I'm saying there's still people to this day, right? Like Hawk and Nigel that are still skating that rail. It's crazy because I deal with the short course of attention span of teenagers, right? They're like, what's the biggest handrail? Blah blah, and blah, blah, and they're always debating all this weird shit. And for years, 14 years ago, I was like, my buddy RJ, look this up. Here's the cover of the magazine. Here's the clip from on video. Here's this, and it was like he did it in a consolidated video too. He did it backside and front side, which is even more nuts. He did both sides of it, 50-50.
Crazy.
Both sides he did, which is fucking nuts. And I've also, that ollie from bank to bank in Arizona he did on that steep bank that people just die on, just try to skate his lip tricks. RJ is such a ripper and such a great guy. We both had the
all-terrain. The definition of all-terrain ripper, right?
He is. Yes, he is. He is so incredible. I'm such a fan of him, such a good friend of his. We still.
What do you think about his rapping? Have you seen much of this?
It's dope. I never rapped in my life, but he inspired me. He wants me to be on one of the tracks, so I've been working on a little bit of it. I used to ride on the back of the TriMet, listen to Minor Threat, Mindset, Downset. Now I'd be guacamole dipping, like a stone I'd be skipping, still pressure flipping, not drinking the formaldehyde. I want to go to Burnside. That's just kind of a part of my rap. Yeah, that's a part of it. There's some more bars. There's gonna be more bars. That's what I've written so far, but there's gonna be a lot more on that track with him and his buddy Ramsey, who's super sick. Check out Ramsey's. He turned me on to all these Fresno rappers I didn't know anything about, and me and him still talk on the phone all the time. We're good friends, I worked at a car dealership in San Diego right before I moved here and opened up, and I was going through the worst time in my life. Well, at least financially, not worst time in my life physically. I've had a lot of medical issues, and I won't get into the details of that, but I've had a lot of problems that are worse than this, but I guess you could say in the sense of that. And I was working at this car dealership. I was working at a Ford dealership. I did a post on Facebook at the time, like, if you need a car, call here. Because it was like basically I was like really behind the bills, and they're like, well, if you sell a car, you're in customer service, but if you sell a car, we'll, give you a little, a spiff check, which was like a bonus on your check. And RJ calls me up. It was the best. He calls me up at the desk, calls the place, asks for me. The boss, who's like this total dickhead, which I'll shall her name is like, there's a call for you, sure, like thinking it's gonna be a car sale, but it wasn't. It was just RJ being awesome and helping me out. He's like, hey Nate, it's RJ. I'm like, oh, whoa. So I go like, in this cubicle, I'm like, oh, sir, yes, we do have the Ford Explorer and that. And I'm just fucking with when my boss walked by, when no one else was around. We're just bullshitting about skating, talking for hours. Just he brought my spirits up so much because we're just bullshit about skating and life and his kids. And he's bringing all these laughs in about things and family and him working for a skate park designer and this and this. And it was just one of those things where it brought my spirits. I was working these 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and he really he knows how to make people happy, man. I don't know how to word this.
That's rad.
One of those, he's a light in a dark tunnel, man. He's the guy that does not curse the darkness. He lights a candle. You know what I'm saying? And I really appreciate that about him. And there's been many times in my life where we're at low points. I'm deaf in 1 year, had a skull injury when I was in PE class when I was a kid that took 50% of my balance, which for the rest of my life I'll only have 50% of the balance of a normal person. So I always fight with that. I have obviously the one of the theories is medically is that the only reason I could even skate or walk normal is because when I got out of the hospital at age 15, after 3 weeks of being in the hospital and being in a coma, that I went immediately to skateboarding. That was like vestibular therapy, and that it helped kind of reset my cochlears and symmetrical canals. I had meningitis as complications from that twice after that. So I was hospitalized twice, once at 17 and once at 23, where they put me in barbituric coma. At 23, they told my family I was going to die. And my parents flew into San Diego. They were in La Jolla. I was at Scripps La Jolla, and they told my family I was going to die and get ready for last rites. And they had my sister and my brother flying. And I was hanging on for dear life, man. If it wasn't for modern science and cyprosporins and the amazing medical staff, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. So like there was times where I talked to RJ when I got out of the hospital, and RJ was always there for me as a friend, as a cohort, as a comedian. To bring my spirits up. And I went through a lot of shit, and RJ was always encouraging and positive energy, man. His brother Nate is a good guy. He has a younger brother, Nathan, that rips, has a good back tail and down handrails. When I was skating pools and totally sucking compared to how, people should skate a pool, what I mean? I'm sitting there having fun, and you see like the Hesh Trog guys at the Vagabond that were like PBR, like, oh, Hesh Mesh, just give me weird vibes because I'm on a popsicle stick that's, teeny, and RJ's just like, yeah, Nate, you got to rock and roll, cheering. It was like almost like the Happy Gilmore thing where like if you piss your pants it's cool, like that, you can tell these guys respect RJ, so they're like, oh yeah, oh, you can tell like last time myself, they'd be like, fuck that guy, get our pool, locals only, bro, like get off our wave, bro, you were gonna beat your ass, but like RJ was just like there, like fucking hell, all right, man, I'm the king of this shit. And he's just, I remember meeting his friend Turtle, like when he came up, he brought him with him to the Northwest on one of the trips to see his chick, and like this guy Turtle, who I don't remember the real name, was just like this amazing ripper. Like, anyway, I could go on for hours about RJ. I won't bore you with all day. I know you got other things to do, I got another question for you, and this might tie into what you're talking about. You might have already answered it, but no worries, I'm here.
This is my good friend from the Great Northwest, a little higher than Oregon. We're going to Chris Haslam.
Mr. Nathan Sherwood, how are you, buddy? So you and I spent a lot of time hanging out in Hollywood Boulevard at Sue and Coop's house in the early 2000s. And I got to watch a lot of debauchery happen at that house, some of which included you. And it all seemed to end at a time that was consistent with some health issues that started happening in your life. Was that in result of the lifestyle you were living at the time, or was that something that was more hereditary? And once you started dealing with it, how did that change your outlook on the way that you were living? How did that change your outlook on skateboarding, maybe your career that you had? How did it affect your mental state? And you seem like such a positive person. How did you get back to being the person that you are from going through all that stuff? because I think a lot of people can learn from your positive mental attitude, my friend. Peace out.
Man.
Awesome. That's
Wow.
a loaded question. But
No, it's beautiful. Chris is such a good friend and such a wonderful man. And being roommates with him and with CU and Jason Aranda's, those days always hold dear to my heart. How me and Chris survived that apartment, how we're still here to talk about it, I have no idea how. Like literally, it's like, one night we were so drunk, me and CU, we were drinking not shots, but literally coffee mugs full of Jägermeister. And Sue got so hammered, he threw a freaking stiletto knife in the wall right above my head, and it almost hit me in the head. And I was playing a video game, and I even noticed. And Chris was like, dude, you almost got killed. And I was like, oh. I went back to playing Gran Turismo because I was just so numb to life. And there was so much going on at that time. I think I was self-medicating because of the stress of the, like Clyde said last night, the lack of future that there is in skating and not knowing what my next step was. And it's neat that Chris knew me so intimately, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people I hid that from. I didn't open up about it. I think in those days, sadly, it was considered lame to talk about, being vulnerable or having health issues or any of those things. It was you're asking for being a whipping post. And so I didn't talk a lot about being deaf in 1 year or my vestibular issues or the fact that I was fighting balance issues, since I was 15 all the way to that point in my life at age 21. And also so the health problems started before that, but Chris is right. The drinking exacerbated it and made it way worse and made it, made me more susceptible for my immune system to develop meningitis. So when I was living there, as Chris knows, I developed spinal meningitis. I was hanging with this chick, Janelle was her name. And ironically, she worked at Nike, which is weird. So we had this Northwest connection. And, she had to go up there for meetings all the time and stuff. And I was crashed out at her house in LA, and I started getting a really bad headache, really stiff neck. I started vomiting uncontrollably. And at first I thought it was the booze. I drove down to Orange County because of my crappy health insurance wasn't covering Sinai in the hospital in LA, the proper one. So I drove down there, and the doctors were like, oh, it's just a bad flu bug. You'll be okay. And then I continued southbound to San Diego because I had a good friend, Aaron Geinfeld, shout out to him, who was in medical school. And I called him and told him about my symptoms. He's like, go to another hospital. He's like, I'm not sure without spinal tap, but that sounds like spinal meningitis if you've already had it once in your life. So I drove down to Scripps La Jolla, puking and driving in traffic, listening to the Goody Mob album, Soul Food, over and over, and just fighting to stay awake and not pass out, because meningitis is swelling of the brain, so it forces you to pass out. It literally, you're fighting to stay awake with it, and it basically it puts you in a coma and then it kills you, and that's how it works. Usually people got about a window of anywhere from 12 to 24 hours with it until they die if they don't get medical treatment.
Oh man!
So I get to Scripps La Jolla. I remember pulling up in the little roundabout thing of the emergency room, uncontrollably vomiting. I remember going and sitting down in a chair, and I don't remember anything else. And I woke up a week later out of a coma, and I had like a lot of facial hair, and I didn't know what was going on. And I still had the ventilator in my throat. And I just remember feeling this and being on a ventilator and being scared shitless, as you should. And then going to sleep again, then waking up again with no ventilator. It seemed like it was seconds, but it was hours. And I have a whole medical team around me. I remember the guy's name, Dr. Fritz and Dr. Ling. Dr. Zube were the three doctors on the case. And they're like, do you know where you are, who you are, yada, yada, a million questions, and explain everything that happened to me. And I had such a bad infection that they were fighting with every drug they had available at the time. And they, like I said, they called my parents and everything. All these people were flying down and shit. And my parents were in the waiting room. They brought them in once they realized I was somewhat in the clear. And then I was under observation for another 3 weeks in the hospital on cephalosporins and IV. I lost 28 pounds, which, as you know, I'm a skinny guy. So yeah, I was really skinny. I wore these big cataract sunglasses because the drugs they had me on made me really allergic to the sun and the way that my eyes just hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chasm's right. If I wasn't around cigarette smoke and I wasn't drinking, I never would have had that bout with meningitis for the second time. They blame my immune system deficiency and the fact that I have a crack in my mastoid process in my temporal bone that I've had since I was 15, which I still have, and I'll have till death because there's no way to operate on it. That is between my blood-brain barrier and my skull. And so anytime I get an ear infection or an infection in my sinuses, it can develop pus in there into the Kuckley canal. And then it goes between the blood-brain barrier and affects my brain and causes meningitis. So anytime I get up a respiratory infection, sinus, whatever, COVID, you name it, I have to pump Sudafed, Afrin, Q-nasal, a bunch of other drugs, and I have to be under observation. I have to take some time off from work because if I come to anything that can suffocate that, and cigarette smoke, I guess I found out after this I was allergic to that, cuts off a lot of the pathways in your nose and your throat. In that apartment always had smokers. Sue didn't smoke, neither Chris, but every chick we had over smoked. Every weird dude that Jason Hernandez would bring over, like, there'd be like, all these dudes smoking in the hallway and hanging out and just chain smoking.
Yeah.
That lowered my immune system and messed up my sinuses, gave me a sinus infection. I didn't think anything. I was being a tough guy, not realizing that was the cause of the meningitis.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, but Chris was really there for me during the hospital. Before that, he was also, we're still good friends. We still bullshit about those years. I mean, I have no idea how the fuck he was filming round 3 and I was working on a 4-in-1 video part. And, every day we'd go and get clips and beat the shit ourselves. We'd shoot with Sue for random articles and Sue was always, as great guy, Dwindle, at the time, the Dwindle staff photographer. And, we and Chris, we went through a lot of growing pains together. I feel like it was kind of like our version of college, like the dormitory was that place. And Chris, he was the only one that didn't give into the peer pressure. I was weaker than him in the sense that I always had a strong individual sense, but I think I was seduced by the way drinking made me feel. It made me feel loose. It made me feel like I had I could forget about all the stresses of the future. Like, what am I going to do for this video part? What am I going to do for this? What am I, because you know how it is, the pressure of the adult world. You need to go get a job like your dad. You got to go to trade school. You got to go to college. And I was it off, and it was like the drinking was this self-medication in a dumb way. And I was just hanging with random chicks every night and drinking heavily, just like Childress or any of these other people that fall victim to it. And Chris was straight edge the whole time. He would be our designated driver. He was just like the Zen Buddha meditating in the living room.
Yeah, it's nuts that someone like that can do that. Like, just be sober the whole time through everybody's experimental days where probably some of the worst moments of our lives.
Yeah, it
like,
was.
I got way drunker than I ever have, and I blew it. And you saw me in my worst moments, and we're still friends somehow.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And Chris was always great. He'd drive students from bars, and we'd skate together and hang together and crack jokes. I remember I was playing Gran Turismo a lot at nighttime. That's hence the knife in the wall. And that intro song to that it's not you, it's you versus me. I'm facing my favorite. Anyway, that was the song he used for his round 3 part because of the joke. It was like an inside joke that me and her play that video game all the time. Me and Chris would be battling on there, and he loved that intro song. And he's like, we were talking about using Bad Religion or like, I remember some hip hop songs and different things of different genres. And he's like, this is the song for my part. And that was the one. It just stuck because we were literally playing Gran Turismo. And that's how he came with the round 3 song, is me and him just playing Gran Turismo.
No way.
And that song, I don't remember Elastica. I don't remember who did it, but yeah, me and Chris were, we were sitting there going through that creative process of building video parts. And I was working on a 4-in-1 part, like I said, and he was working on round 3. And we spent a lot of time together, man, sleeping in that living room, both of us. I had a mattress on the floor. He had a bed in the corner. Jason Hernandez had a room. Sue had a room. Cooper Wilt would come stay there. Oh my God. Holy shit. The guy does hurricane grinds that used to work for FA, Rofer Foundation. Oh my God, I can see his face. Isn't that horrible? We show up all the time. Asian dude, chain smoking, great guy. Wonderful dude.
What's his name?
Shimizu.
He just had a kid, Daniel Shimizu.
No way. Good for him. He would show up all the time and hang out.
Scrubing told me.
Yeah, he would show up and chain smoke and tell jokes. And yes, Daniel Shimizu would show up all the time. And the first time I met, oh my God, Lee Smith, like just interesting guys that swing by the apartment, party with us. Shiloh Greathouse, still cereal on me. And I was sleeping. I was dead asleep on the floor, and I woke up with a big bowl of cereal on me. And Shiloh Greathouse was just like, sorry, man. I'm sure it was a mistake. I think he was just, under the influence too, and eating cereal at 2 or 30 in the morning.
So you woke up to cereal all over you, and now you wake up in the cereal capital of the country.
Shiloh personified my future. Shiloh Greathouse is a clairvoyant warlock, dude. We should get that guy to do a sage shaman thing.
We need a Shiloh appearance. That's coming in the next world. All right, we gotta wrestle through these. I got a few, we're gonna go all the way to Austin, Texas.
Hell yeah.
This is Jake Nunn, who is auditioning for his own segment here in Harsh Barge.
All right, Mr. Sherwood, this is Nunn Squared coming at you with a special request from Schmit Dog and Tim. Shout out, shout out. Got a few questions for you. Do you know what state the pressure flip was invented in? I don't know. Do you know where the pressure flip was first seen on video? I don't know. Do you know who invented the pressure flip?
I love his nun outfit, and his last name is Nunn. The play on words with the ruler is beautiful. That was some Blues Brothers shit.
I think Jake Nunn's going to be praying for skateboarding. That might be his thing.
So there's a debate between Bobby Boyd and Casper back in 1982 and this other freestyle skater that was a flat ground freestyle guy, and it wasn't Cameron Martin. I'm going to forget his name. It's, oh, God, right now the spot's going to kill me. But this is the weird thing. I might be biased because I've met Bobby Boyd, Casper, and Dale Grogan before. But the other guy, so there's three dudes in the run-up, right? It's like the handrail thing where these guys, and I think maybe the other freestyle guy was Keith Butterfield or one of those guys or Unker. But there are freestyle dudes on freestyle boards in the early 80s. And I feel like maybe Keith Butterfield was from Texas or something, but I'm not sure. But there was an Oceanside contest that Grant Britton shot, and he's claimed he saw a freestyle guy doing it there too. So there's a few freestyle guys. The story I heard is from Bobby Boyd and Casper, I met him through Dale Grogan when we were filming this crazy freestyle video where I had some freestyle tricks in it. And Bobby Boyd and Casper claimed it was summer of 82 at some contest, a flat ground contest. It was in San Luis Obispo in SLO. And it was like, some freestyle thing. And it was like, Bobby Boyd and Casper and God damn it. I can see his face. Canadian Mountie motherfucker, Kevin Harris and a bunch of dudes like that. I can't remember the names of right off the top of my head. And Bobby Boyd and Casper was doing rail flips, like the classic rail flip, the log roll, old school kickflip rail flip on the side. And then he decided to scrape the tail, and he started to scrape the tail and do like a straight pressure flip. And then he decided to do like a shove it one, according to Bobby Boyd and Casper. I'm just going off face value on this. I have no evidence to prove this. But then Skate Rat on YouTube, he hit me up to do an interview about it. And this is fucking sad. The first time I thought it was done up something, over something was Chris Fissel, of course, because again, that's the guy who taught me it. So again, I'm biased because of, my short range of focus. But that guy in Skate Rat posted something where he's like, no, you're wrong, because it was the same kind of, trivia as this. He showed some freestyle dude and, with the shin guards and all that shit. Again, I remember that Keith Butterfield or Gunther doing a pressure flip up like a little curb, like at a freestyle contest in the background. And Grant Britton said he saw them heavily in the early days done by freestylers. So which freestyler did it first, I don't know. Right off the top of my head, it was Butterfield or Gunther or Yo-Yo Schultz. It was one of those guys like that. Or maybe Bobby Boyd Casper, of course, he's kind of egomaniac, and I love the guy. But he's like, I was the first. They all took it from me, blah, blah, blah. And this is, what I heard when I was hanging with him and Dale Grogan way back 20-some years ago. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong. None. I'm not going to battle this out too much because I've heard the debate forever and people have asked me a million times.
The Austin Nunn says, according to him, Texas is the reason. That's the state. He says the guy is Andre Camacho.
Oh,
and it was featured in the Life video.
Oh, wait. Oh, no. Okay. That was way later on. So this is, okay, Life Skateboards, obviously Soldier's Story. Love that video. I love Sean Sheffy's part. I love the where he's at the, okay, I remember the clip too. It was the YMCA Sequoia Lake, skate camp, and he's on a quarter pipe. He's doing it to fakie. And Andrew Camacho is great. He was, we're talking Life video. That was a million years later, okay? So 1990 was a long time from 82, okay? Yeah. And I love that guy, and I loved him. And he also, they reran those clips, and this is not the new H Street video too. The same clips from Visalia, slow motion back wide 60 millimeter of Andrew Camacho doing a pressure flip melon grab to fakie and a pressure flip to fakie on the wood quarter pipe at the YMCA Sequoia Lake street course. And yes, I do know that clip, and I love that clip. And he is from Texas. Texas is the reason the president's dead. Absolutely, I get the Mr. reference. But that was a fucking million years later than the freestyle guys that were doing it. So I'm sorry, Jake. I love you, but that was after noses were invented on boards.
Sorry, none. You got to do a little bit more research before you can stump the Sherwood.
It's okay. I've spent a lot of time on the court.
All right, we're gonna go down to Malibu, California.
Yo, Brodiacs, what's up, man? I have a fucking good question for you, Nate Sherwood. Can you even do a kickflip?
Arthur Lake? Did Arthur Lake make it to middle age?
That was Mike York dressed up as Arthur
Fuck
Lake.
that was the mic stand from fucking Aerosmith. That was not Mike York. That was like the NWA logo, like the Glenn Freeman. Like that'd be like if NWA was like in a salon, like NWA, like the gay salon. Like, oh hi guys, look at my hair. Oh my god, I love Mike York, but what the fuck, dude? Last time I saw him, he had a tri-chocolate pow haircut, and now he's like got this long crop, like a hair farmer. I thought you pulled that guy out of a ditch in LA, like with some Thunderbird. Holy shit to the shit. He's trying to cap on me about kickflips. Meanwhile, this dude, no wonder roller horror failed, man. He fucking probably went to the bank for a loan. They're like, get the fuck out of here. What the fuck is wrong with you? No, I love Mike. I love him like a brother. He's capping on me, and we're just roasting.
Should we roll the tape?
Dude, sure. Yeah. I mean, there's some kickflips of me out there floating around on the internet.
Here we go.
Way wrong to the point of no return.
That's funny. And there's other better ones out there, but that's a funny story behind that because Lee DuPont was saying the same shit as Mike York in some article in some zine a million years ago. I don't remember now if it was Automatic or Truck Stop. It was one of those weird fly-by-night mags, and everyone was like stirring the pot, and that was the early internet YouTube, and I was like, fuck that. Here I am back in 1994 doing it. Here I am right now outside my porch doing it, and I just went out and did it real quick just to prove a fact. But there's this video, like it says my life story somewhere on YouTube. It's like 60 minutes long. It's like a couple clips from every year I've been skating since, I've been skating since 87, but 89. And actually I have some fights at a skate camp, like around the same time that, that Nuns home.
I sell you.
And anyway, yeah, there's some kickflips and kickflip variations in there. But like I say, with my scar tissue, they never look pretty, but they're always mobbed out. And I always like the way Gons did them, so I don't care, But yeah, I can do kickflips, Mike. And dear God, Mike, I thought you were Arthur fucking Lake, bro. I didn't know the real Z boys could be on here, man. Holy shit, bro.
Hey, I gotta give lots of love to Mike York, Haslam, McKenny, Jake, sending in the questions.
And I love Mike. Mike's a good guy.
How can you not love Mike?
Yeah, I love Mike. He's an amazing skater. I love roller horror. I love turf.
He's another comedian out there. He'll make you laugh within 30 seconds.
He's a great guy, and I hope he didn't take anything personal. I was just trying to be comedic because he's capping on me. I thought it'd be fun to cap back a little bit.
He doesn't take things serious.
Last time I saw him, he had short hair, like I said, tri-chocolate pow era. But now he's like fucking low.
Yo, Brodiacs, what's up?
Love the Glenn Freeman angle. Like that's hilarious, dude.
All right.
I love Mike York.
We got 2 more questions and we got about 10 minutes. So we got about five. Yeah. I think I got another one on top of that too, but we're going to go up right south of where you used to live, Vancouver, Washington.
Oh shit.
We're going to take the bridge into Portland. We're going to go to the new skate shop that opened up recently called Ripsco. And we're going to meet up with our boy, Willis Kimball.
What up, Schmitty? TalkinSchmit. Nate, I got a question for you. All right. Say you're right-handed. You're playing baseball. Your right hand's above your left hand. Smacking dingers like Cal Ripken. If you're playing golf, same shit. But then all of a sudden, you start playing pool or you're shooting a rifle. The shit's the opposite. What's going on? Bang your melon around and tell me what's up with that, Nate.
Wow, that's impressive, man. Willis Kimball, big fan of that guy. Always have been. Met him once at the Ultimate Border. Love that he's in P-Town. Love that he's got a shop. I'm happy he's a fellow gilded union member of the skate shop owner club and took a vow of poverty. I was been a fan. I love that ditch. I want to go back to P-Town and skate that. I know.
And he's a skate shop owner.
Yeah, it's cool. I didn't know there was.
You guys are in the same family.
We're in the same family. It's fucking dope, like a pounder key. I love that. I'm so proud of him and good for him to go for it, man. So I mean, I would say that's ambidextrous. I mean, I have done things right-handed. I've done things left-handed. I have a torn labrum in my shoulder right now, so and I'm a lefty, so it's hard for me. I have to do a lot of things right-handed right now. But yeah, I mean, I definitely grip boards left-handed. I definitely swing a golf club left-handed. I shoot a rifle left-handed, but my eye is right eye dominant, so I actually shoot sometimes right-handed if I'm trying to be accurate. Let's see here. I hit a baseball left-handed. I threw out an opening pitch of a local game here at the local minor league for the Twins, left-handed last year.
No way.
Yeah. They invited me out to. They had this like thing for business owners where they had different business owners every week at a local game. You know, they had me like, Eduskate board shop owner Nate Sherwood, and I went there. I had a jersey made up that was like. It was in the Twins font, but it said Eduskate, so it was like the Minnesota Twins, but ripped off.
Yeah.
I did an opening pitch. I'll find the link. It's somewhere on YouTube.
What's your minor league team out there?
The Colonels. Yeah, the Colonels. They're AA, and they farm for the Minnesota Twins, which is just north of here.
Yeah, that rules.
Yeah, it's rad. I was very honored when they hit me up. Like literally, like one of the promotion marketing guys came in the shop and he's like, "Hey guys, we're doing this thing for the whole month of August." Da, da, da. And it was our 13-year anniversary at the time, so I had a jersey with the number 13 on it made, and yeah, it was cool. Oh, well, Lindsay made it. My wife made it all back there. I shouldn't say had it made. She yeah, it was cool. But yeah, Willis Kimball. I think that's called being ambidextrous. I think. I mean, I don't know any other terminology in my vocabulary, but please educate me if you have a better answer. I'm a big fan of Willis Kimball, and big props to his shop, and big props to the Cal Skate, the shop I grew up with. Big shout out to Commonwealth. Big shout out to Rebel Skates. Awesome team Rebel, dude. Represent.
Shrunken Head is gone now, right?
Shrunken Head, yeah. Rest in peace, Justin. I worked with Justin one summer at Cal Skate before he started Shrunken Head. And actually, I used to date his roommate in the 90s. I did. Yeah, his roommate Rachel.
We won't go there.
Yeah, it was just funny, but yeah, it was just his roommate.
Hey, what happens in the west side of Portland stays on the east side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a house full of like 7 dudes and 2 chicks. It wasn't like they were together or anything, but yeah, I knew Justin very well. I'd wake up in the morning and pour coffee and see him in the kitchen. Is all I'm saying. I knew Justin very well. But yeah, good guy. I like Justin a lot. I don't know what he does now, but I hope he's well. I heard when he closed down, I got bummed.
Shout out to Justin. Shout out to Shrunken Head. Shrunken Head, I'll give you a fun fact about Shrunken Head.
Yeah.
The only skate shop in the history of TalkinSchmit to do a collab with TalkinSchmit.
No way, really?
We had a Shrunken Schmit beanie.
Dude, what?
Yeah,
we're changing that.
A Shrunken Schmit head.
No way, Shrunken Schmit head.
Yeah,
that's respect to Justin and you on the Crease Skate.
Yeah, it was cool. Those are good dudes up there,
Yeah, great dudes. Yeah, I love all those shops.
Portland is home away from home for me. It's probably like I love Chicago as a big city, but I can't do the winters there. Portland. I love Portland. PDX, man.
Yeah, word up. Chicago's my getaway here because it's only 200 miles away, and I love it. But you're right, winters are brutal. My wife has a lot of friends that live there, so we go and stay with them all the time. And Nate Ling, big shout out to Nate Ling at AWH Distribution out there. Him and his wife Jessica always put me up out there and let me go skate and film with them.
Nate's the man.
I love Nate. He is the man. I love Nate so much. He is such a good dude.
He helped me out too. Yeah,
dude. Ditto. Big heart to him. I would be out of business if it wasn't for him. During COVID, if it wasn't for him, we would be out of business because during COVID, he was really working his ass off to make sure orders
get boards, right? Like,
during the ration death. But yeah, you're right. Chicago reminds me a lot of Portland, but bigger. You're right. And PDX forever, man. I mean, dude, I the first 22 years of my life was in Portland, Oregon. And I miss everything, man. I got everything, and I go back to those. Right here, this used to be a record shop. I got drunk, I got beat up, I got love in that parking lot. You know what I mean? Like, an atmosphere lyric. Like, I think about that. I think of going to the first strip club at Mary's Club. I think about, weird girlfriends in the West
Hills. Travel Doug Fur,
love it. Yeah. Hell yeah, the Doug
Bridge. Like,
hell yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
Dope, man. I love the Jupiter, man.
My favorite was every time we brought someone for the first time to Portland, we would go to the taco place, order tacos. We don't tell them anything. And then we're like, hey, let's go eat them in here. And you open the door and you're in Mary's strip club. And they're just like, whoa.
Mary's is so dope. It was just like right there on the corner of, Burnside and Hoyt. And you said big flashy lights and the marquee. And, it was just so sick. Like you said, you're at the taco spot. Bam, you just walk in there and you're this the tightest little strip club ever. It's like, dude, the counter for my trucks and wheels is longer. It's just like, holy crap. You're just sitting there eating tacos, getting boozy, the muchas gracias tacos, and you're right there, right next to Old Town. So you can get down to Cal Skaties, you can get to the 3 Down, you can get to, obviously Voodoo Donuts is right there, the Paris Theater, Zupans.
And now 2026, shout out to Mickey Ray's Cat Spa bar. So he's up there with the bar.
I went there after Kurt's funeral, and I talked to a lot of old friends of Kurt. It was a beautiful thing, and Mickey said some really nice words about Kurt, and I hung with Mickey, and it's a beautiful place. I love that area. Like, actually, my good friend Shane Cudd, he grew up a block from where that bar is, and we used to sneak into that movie theater across the street. And I was telling Mickey the stories about We snuck into kids in that movie theater. Actually, we snuck in and watched, Telly and Casper right there when I was in high school. So that area, like near, East Belmont, Hawthorne, that whole neighborhood and Clinton Street is all very dear to me. And the Cat's Paw, I didn't drink anymore at that point, but Mickey had his bartender lane make me a really cool mocktail, so I felt festive. And we're just more in the depth of a good friend, and I just started being in a circle there talking to everybody, and it was like him and Kelly Bird and a bunch of other dudes, it was. But yeah, Cat's Paw is great. Mickey, I love the art, I love his outdoor seating. I really love the decor, and I miss Portland a lot. I miss home a lot. I miss my sister and my brother-in-law, and if there was ever an opportunity for me there, I'd move in a minute. It's definitely a place I miss a lot. PDX is just dear to me, and it's got so much character and flavor, and I miss the sarcasm, I miss the humor, I miss the nature, I miss the big Douglas fir trees, I miss the big fern bushes, I miss the waterfalls, I miss the fact
river.
I
miss the river.
Me too, the Columbia and the Willamette, both of them, and the Sandy and I could go on for hours, but
I miss Gravette. How about that?
Oh, David Gravette's the homie. He grew up in Washougal, man. When I moved away, he was, a little tiny kid. And I met him actually in San Diego and didn't realize he grew up, only like 15 miles from me. And this kid, Taylor Orks, that was a little kid that I gave skate lessons to at the local Vancouver park, was friends of his. And I remember he's like, Taylor Orks was the first thing. Gravette was already famous at this point. And he was like, Taylor Orks? I was like, yeah, I used to give him lessons and hang out with his mom. He was like, yeah, that's my good friend. I realized how much older I was than Gravette when I was like, wait, like that little kid. Oh, I get it, And he grew up in Washougal, which is a beautiful area too. The Washougal River and Lacamas Lake. There's some good skate spots out there. And I got a lot of good friends out there in Camas and Lacamas. And I love that area. I hope to retire there someday. If I ever won the lottery, I'd be back there in a minute. And when I was in high school, my senior year of high school, my friend Tonto and me, we wanted to see if we could skate, surf, and snowboard all in one day. And we did it. And we were so sore. For like a week, I was so fucked up.
Where'd you go, like Lincoln City to Hood River?
You called it, dude. You knew it, man. So Lincoln City didn't have the park yet. We went to Cannon Beach and we skated the Cannon Beach part. It was like this little weird, like donut, like half a ashtray looking thing. It was like really shitty. But we went there, we skated that, and then went down to Lincoln City to visit this chick that he was into at the time. That's another story itself. And we skated around the streets, but the park wasn't built yet. This is long before Lincoln City Skate Park. This is 1996. So anyways, we skated the little ashtray thing in Cannon Beach, and we went down to Lincoln City and we skated this like really roached out little like wood quarter pipe thing that they called a skate park, but it was horrible. And then we got in we surfed the shit out of, I suck at surfing, by the way. I have no upper body strength and worth. But anyway, we surfed Lincoln City and we went to Short Sands, Oswald West, and we surfed Oswald West. And I just got beat up. I stood up maybe twice, but Tonto's like a very strong swimmer and a good surfer. He had to rescue my ass a couple times. Anyway, we get in the freaking van, his mom's Mormon van, right? I just say that she wasn't really Mormon, but she just had like a 12-seater. We put our shit away, right? We change out, we drive like 80 some miles to Mount Hood. We go to night ski at Timberline Lodge. We snowboard, night ski, but we snowboard, but you know what I mean? Up on Timberline until they closed down, and then we drove all the way home, got home, and the fucked up thing was it was on a school night. So we barely, literally, he drops me off at my parents' house. I had, my buzzer goes off. I swear to the guy, I slept like an hour. And then we're just, stiff as hell, at school night. So we're like, oh, my God, we're going to die. But we wanted to see if we could do it. We surfed, snowboard, and skated in one day. That's the thing. You can't do that anywhere else. I mean, well, you can, but, it's rare. It's not very common is all I'm saying. I mean,
right.
Can, but,
if you're Austin Camfoosh, you can. You wake up super early. You surf right at the minute that the sun comes up. Then you jet to Tahoe as fast as you can. You're there in 4 hours, and you probably get there around noon, and you snowboard down the hill, and then you go up into Reno and skate with the homies at Classic Skate Shop.
Dude, respect to Austin, bro. And I love Reno. That town is underrated. Dude.
Yeah.
I was skating this bank to ledge spot there with Chris Ray a million years ago, and the downtown was cool. I remember that double set that MJ switch tray flipped. Rest in peace, MJ. I remember skating that thing and doing a pressure, big spin pressure down, whatever. And I had so much fun. I only been to Reno twice. Once as a skateboarder, once with my wife when I moved here, and we stopped there on the way there. And we did all the national parks on the way out here, and we stopped there for a night because our car was acting kind of iffy. But anyway, I love that area. I think that Grass Valley and that whole area around Lake Tahoe and Reno is so underrated. It doesn't get enough props. And I think that's probably the power of it, though, too, is that a lot of people aren't moving there because of that. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like underground beautiful,
Yeah.
And Austin Camfish, I think I have his board somewhere around here. Who cares? But I didn't know he was one of those gnarly dudes that do that. Respect to him being an ultimate boarder. I did it once in high school and I was sore forever. I will never do it again. I don't know. I mean, only did it because it was peer pressure. My buddy's like, we skate. and I didn't even surf. He just let me borrow a surfboard and wetsuit. I went surfing a couple times before that. So basically, he's like, "You're gonna surf. We're gonna snowboard." We had all our gear, and it was just gnarly. Like I just remember driving and listening to like mixtapes of Fugazi, and like just that's all I remember. It was 100 years ago. It was 1996. So like I said, Lincoln City wasn't built yet, and he was trying to impress some chick in Lincoln City. It didn't work out very well, and then we just got back in the fucking car. But anyway, I think we went to an outlet mall somewhere in the middle of nowhere. I remember that, and I got an Adidas jumpsuit. I remember after the mountain, I was so cold and frigid and just beat up and like rashed from all the different water. I wore Adidas jumpsuit like a Run DMC B-boy all the way back. And I was just like, I took all my gear out of the back, like my wetsuit and my snow gear and all my skate shit. And of course, it was his surfboard I was borrowing, and so I left that in there for him. I just remember going to my parents' house, like all like whatever on horrible time of the night, turn the key, like anyway, it was just comical, but. 17 years old, trying to wake him up and shit. They didn't care, but I just didn't want to be a dick because my dad worked long hours, and my mom did too at that time. But anyway, yeah, it reminded me of some really good memories of the Northwest, and I appreciate that, man.
Hell yeah. Well, we're going far south now. This is the finale.
Yeah. Oh,
we got one of my favorite human beings, just somewhere in the middle of Ventura, California.
Oh, dope.
Recent Hall of Famer.
Oh, my man, Frankie Hill. It's got to be.
You guessed it, baby.
Hey, what's up, Nate? It's Frankie Hill, man. Hey, I just had a quick question. I was wondering if you ever did an ollie frontside 50-50 to pressure flip body varial out. I know you could do it. Just wondering if you have. Right on, man. Hope everything is good with you, my man. Talk soon. Late.
The best.
That's
legend.
The best. Legend.
If you don't know, do your homework, kid.
Yeah, Frankie Hill is the man. I have done front 50-50s to backside pressure flip out and also shove it pressure flip out and 360 pressure flip out, but I've never done it with a body varial. I've done pressure body varials on flat ground.
You gonna work on that one for us?
I'll work on it. I'll you know what? Once my PT clears me after this horrible hamstring pull that I got, I'll work on that. I'll try that.
Let's call it Frankly Over the Hill.
I love that. Frankly Over the Hill. I love that. That's so good. I'll do that. I'll call it Frankly Over the Hill. I love Frankie Hill, man. He's a dear friend of mine and a great guy. And I've never body varialed out. Like I said, I've shoved pressure flipped out. I've backside pressure flipped out. I've 360 pressure flipped out of a 50, but I've 360 pressure flipped into a 50 and then shove it pressure flipped out, of course. But I've never actually body varialed out in my life. I've never done it. And yeah, I'll work on that. I'll work on that in the Des Moines Park next time I go out there. I went out there, I don't know, a little over a week ago. And then I skated so hard for 6 hours. I literally got there at 11 a.m., skated. I mean, I took breaks to eat and stretch and stuff and drink water, but I skated until 6:30 at night and then drove home. And then that Friday, that was a Monday. And then Friday, I decided to skate to work and like shred hard. And then I pulled something horrible in my leg. Ended up pulling my what the hell they call it, as a hamstring and some other adductor muscle, an adductor. I pulled the adductor. So my physical therapist, she's like, nah, man, you got to like chill out for like 2 to 3 weeks and you're going to rip this shit and you're going to have to need surgery. So I'm taking it real mellow right now. I'm going to just, once I get good, then I'll go try that for Frankly Over the Hill and I'll tag him in it. You know what I mean? Like, that's sick, dude. I got a poster. I got so much shit of Frankie around here. I got a lot of memorabilia, but I was honored he let me do that documentary on him. I was honored to do that documentary. Frankie, it was kind of like you and Phil Show where like, I just jumped in it and gathered a lot of things from a lot of different nuances. And if anybody wants to see a Frankie Hill DVD, I can send them a copy just for cost of shipping. So
to be 100% transparent, candid, and humble, I met Frankie Hill mostly due to you.
No way.
That's like crazy. I was doing the podcast and that thing came to me. I think McKenny actually sent it to me and was like, check this out. And it reminded me like Frankie Hill, duh. So I reached out to him. I was like, fuck, I barely knew him. I knew who he was, but I didn't think he knew who I was. And I was like, hey, would you want to come on my podcast? Like, it was one of the first ones that was like a big time dude that I didn't really know. And he instantly was like, call me, let's talk about it. So I called him and he felt me out I think he was making sure I wasn't like gonna do a Robin Big on him or something, like it was gonna be legit. And we talked dude, ever since then, I feel like he's like a homie. Like he always contributes to every Thanksgiving. I do a skate video with all the listeners, and then I try to include as many pros as I can. So it's like listeners along with some of their favorite pros maybe. And Frankie always donates clips, and he's just a humble dude, and he's so important. When he came out, the stuff he did was just incredible. I mean, this is one of, like, you talk about Pat Duffy and you talk about Frankie Hill, like same conversation.
Yep, same conversation. Absolutely, man. And that's what we covered in that documentary on him. I felt like he was being slept on at that time hard. And when I first talked to him, I was just so honored and stoked to hang with him and go to his house. And I was kind of ripping off the Germs interview with Darby Crash and like in Decline of Western Civilization, where he's cooking bacon and Darby Crash is being interviewed about punk rock. Like Frankie starts up the pan, starts cooking bacon and eggs. I was like, dude, I'm gonna start interviewing you right now because this is like the Darby Crash moment. Like I just start interviewing him. I was just like, I feel like I'm literally like hanging out with Darby Crash right now, but skateboarding. And I was just in his kitchen interviewing him and had the lav mic on him and and walking around the camera, and he just he's just like you said, he's that piece of the puzzle. Like I always tell people this: skateboarding is a giant skyscraper right now, right? But it would not be standing without the contributions of dudes like Frankie Hill. You know what I mean? Like his pushing the envelope, him thinking outside the box, him being that Chuck Yeager mentality of like, I'm going to push it to the next level, hike yourself down giant handrails and stuff. And like you said, Pat Duffy is influenced by him. Every modern, stunt hammer throwing handrail guy was influenced by him. And he's just, he said, like you said, so neatly, he's so humble, and he never got a big head. He's always down for anything. Like if I have a customer that's a fan, he'll send me an autograph poster for them. He'll, if he has a reissue on PAL, I always buy a bunch and have him autograph them. So I have him here on the wall for people. He's always come through for me for anything. Like if I need a sound bite for somebody, grew up watching him. They're like, hey, Carl, how's it going? It's Frankie here. Thanks for supporting your shop. You know what I mean? Like I can just text him or whatever. I can call him at any time. He picks up. We did the skateboard or whatever, the Bones Beard audio show not that long, a couple months ago. Me and him were on together. It was just like this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. And he never got a big head. He's hilarious. He's a great skater. Like he cracks funny jokes, and you see it in the documentary a lot. And he's so amazing, well respected by everybody. I remember I was interviewing Guy Mariano for that documentary, and Lance Cock, and Pat Duffy, and all these other dudes, and hanging out with Guy Mariano and him just going back in memory bank of his old pal days. You just see the memories and just laughing his ass off, thinking about all the funny stuff that Frank said, because Frank's another guy like Clyde, Singleton, where he could just be a great comedian if you wanted to be, quips and all these funny little mannerisms and things, and just falling around with him. And I really respect the guy more than I can even word in my vocabulary. Like Frank is he's still killing at his age now, still, doing big knee tucks and melon grabs over fire hydrants. And
exactly. Yeah, no. And he's skating all the time. And he's one of those dudes that he has had some injuries and stuff that like might've stopped other people, but he figured out ways to like get it working in a way that he can keep it going. And that's the inspo. As you get older, you realize I can't do it how I used to, but I can still do it.
Exactly. You got to modify it. That's how I look at it. I mean, look at Ron Allen. He's my biggest hero ever. Ron Allen is incredible. The fact that he's skating in his 60s and still doing late back foot kick flips and like, late shove-its at that age, and having that much coordination and that kind of pop power and that kind of like precision tuning for tech skating at his age, he's an inspiration to me. He is the man. Ron Allen is my hero.
Crack.
It don't, man. It doesn't, man. It's true, man. He's incredible, man. I want to get that.
He does 100 push-ups every morning. I think that's what he told me. Yeah, keep the core. He said the key is the core. Always get a core. So he does push-ups every morning. And that's out. Yeah, he said that's key. But dude, also some people just have it in their DNA where like he's got energy, he's got charisma, he's got ideas.
Yeah,
he's a great musician too.
Oh, he's
people
incredible.
Don't realize that he did a lot of 8th Street songs.
Oh yeah, Green
all
Hell.
That stuff.
Green Hell, dude. Of course, no, I know all this music. I'm a huge Ron Allen fan. Like, I'm like fanned out in that guy. Like, I remember the first time I met Ron Allen was at Burnside, and Dave Hupp and me were working on this video project. Why wouldn't you? And I have a couple cameo clips with Ron Allen and me skating the pyramid with him. Like he does this big old like steezy ollie, and then I come and do a tray pressure flip to fakie. It's just like it's like that clip to me I'll hold till I die, because I'm just like, it's me and Ron Allen. Like, holy shit, like 8th Street life, like holy fuck, you know what I mean? Like, like Ron fucking Allen, like, oh my God, like I'm such a fan of Ron. And like, he was like the most underrated guy in 8th Street. Because, as a kid growing up, people were always like, I love everyone in 8th Street, but like, people are like, oh, Hensley, this and that. I'm like, dude, this guy just did an airwalk board slide down a handrail. Ron Allen. Holy shit. He was like my favorite guy. Like, I used to draw that Chris Clint non-scratch graphic on my shoulder when I was a kid. Like
No way.
Intense. I would draw that, like, the guy grooving on the 2x4 roller skateboard. I would draw that, and I always wanted to get it tattooed. I still should get it tattooed. I would literally draw that on my peaches and my notebooks. Like, I was the biggest Ron Allen fan, dude. Like, still am. Like, I have his guest board hanging up in here from Crooked, whatever. I could go on about that for hours. But like, Ron Allen is definitely like a god to me. I'm like how boomers are with the Beatles with that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, holy shit, it's Ron fucking Allen.
Well, we'll have to get a Ron Allen moment.
Hell yeah.
We're running out of time, but I do want to just say before we head out, I'm super hyped to have you a part of this. And I can't wait to see. I've seen a few glimpses of what you're bringing, and I know there's going to be. It's what I love in Ryan RJ. He's the same way. Is I'm an early rise, and you're back east, so you're 2 hours ahead of me. So if I'm up at 6 and you're up at 8, or if I'm up at 8, you're up at 10, whatever it is. But we're talking in the morning about like, and then that just stimulates my whole day. Where it's like, dude, that morning conversation sparked me so much that like. My day was rad because I just started it off with like RJ called me the other day. He's like talking about building a trailer and all the stuff he's doing. He's like,
yeah, dude, he's so hyped on that. He was talking to me on the phone about a week ago about that. I was on a walk around the neighborhood just talking to my headphones like how old retired dudes do. And yeah, he was talking about this trailer that he got. Like some dude gave it to him.
Right.
He's painted up and stuff and jazzing it up. He's like got all these plans like to put a solar panel and then take it to Oregon and like go camping. Like, yeah, dude, I love it. He's got like, I'm gonna go Corvallis, I'm a Eugene, I'm gonna go
he's up next, so you're gonna have to come in with a few questions for Ryan because we'll have him next.
Absolutely. But I love RJ. Ryan Johnson is the homie for life, man.
I just want to say, like, I'm coming up on episode 250 for the podcast. I've been doing this for 7 or 8 years now, and it feels like a good chunk of change. I got Chris Sen for episode 250. We're going to launch the Chris Sen interview that I did at Low Card a few weeks back. But I am so excited, and I don't know if this will last an hour, a day, a week, a year, or how long. But to have like you, McKenny, RJ, Jake Nunn, and build a little team where it's just like I got a crew and we're all doing it together seems so fun to me. And so and to have fun because we're all like into humor and like not taking it too seriously, that we can, I'm going to give a little sneak preview for anyone that's watching. One of Nate's first things that he submitted to me is him out in front of the Crunchberry factory, and he does this whole intro where he jumps out, and I was like, instantly, I was like, this is my dude. Like we're thinking the same. Like it might be a little cornball, might be cheesy at times, but we're just going for it, and we're trying to
TV days,
we're trying to like keep connections alive and keep people stoked, and like Albino says, provoke the stoke, so
provoke the stoke. I like
there you have it.
Yeah, man.
So
fun, man.
I'm stoked, dude. And also big shout out to your wife and Eduskate out in Iowa. If you're ever in that area, you have to stop by there and visit these guys, because this is what they do. And look at this, it's 11:30 p.m. his time. The last place he probably wants to be is in the skate shop when he's not working. And there he is. Look at our guy right there.
I'm just chilling. I do what I love, and I love what I do, man. I'd stay here all night if I had to,
I'm
hyped, fortunate,
man. And I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the extra effort that your wife, what's your wife's name again? I'm sorry.
Lindsay.
Yeah, Lindsay. I appreciate what Lindsay did, because nobody saw it, but Lindsay was in there with the headphones on, tech time, doing this, looking up, doing this. And then she's like, are we good? And I was like, we're good. And she's like,
I'm out.
It was great. So
yeah, she was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
So as McKenny would say, thank you for bringing the fire.
Dude,
your fire helps.
I'm honored, man.
Hey, we're all kindle, and we all need to ignite, and we just help each other.
And I'm honored to, like I said, thank you for the platform. Let me, do like what I did on Field TV with Notorious Nate, or doing what I do, with skits, and just, or Lance Mountain did with Nickelodeon. I just love talking about funny stuff and being comedic and throwing little things. And thank you. You know, it's mutual,
Of
brother.
course,
Like I
dude.
said, and again, if you get over it, we're over it. Oh, hey, look, there's my old cover from Big Brother.
This is one of our assignments, I think. Where is it?
Yeah.
Where is it?
I shot that whole article in a weekend, and the cover was shot with. You know what's
So-
funny is that's Madison Knoxville right there. It's Johnny Knoxville's daughter kicking me in the ass. The
No
chick
way.
with the plaid skirt,
Okay,
that's Johnny
don't
Knoxville's
say
daughter.
too much, because here's one of my assignments for you.
Mm.
I want to do a second look, which is
Yeah.
a takeoff on Thrasher used to do first look when the mag
yeah.
would come out. We're
Alright.
going to go back to this, and you're going to take the mag and you're going to look at it and describe everything and give us the Nate Sherwood, like what was going on this cover, what year was
Yeah.
it, what was it going on, and then
Yeah.
open it inside, and we can do that. But
Deal.
here's the thing that you will know about me. Your vision is your vision. I'm not going to like, this is how you got to do Nate. Nate, you do Nate like Schmitty does Nate. No, Nate does Nate like Nate wants to do it. And
I'm
that's
honored,
the
man. It means a lot
beauty.
to me, man.
We
I'm
got,
honored.
hey, once we
Thanks.
connect all the dots, man, we're not going to have a connect, and there's going to be no connection.
Thank you for the creative control. And I
You know?
said, and you know, you're the editor. You can always veto whatever. And
No, but I always like
throw
to,
stuff at you so it's
I run
slick,
it
you know?
by you, and I'm like, hey, what do you think? And you're like,
Yeah.
what if you added some pepper? And I was like, no, we're going salt today, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're like, let's get it salty then.
Let's get the oregano. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah,
get the
let's
medium
go
rare.
Baisley. We'll get
Yeah.
fucking Clyde involved. He'll
I'm
do
down.
cooking
That
with,
sounds fun.
you know. So
Yeah, I used to do this stuff at
the
Laban
world
Fides
is
all the
our
time.
oyster. That's what I like to say.
It is. It is. We gotta get
And-
Chris Lambert on the show and Laban
No,
Fides on there.
he is coming because I
He's
already
sick,
hit up
sick.
Laban.
Nice. Yeah, Laban's the homie. That's
So
the bro.
Chris Lambert, quick story. Chris Lambert came to SF, and I filmed him do a backlip down one of the bigger rails that anyone had backlipped at that time.
Gnarly.
Out at the Presidio, which right now is turned into Star Wars land.
Okay.
But it
Star Wars
used to be evacuated. It was a huge skate park. There was rails, ledges, stairs. It's where Gons did switch lip slide down the short square rail.
Yep.
You know?
In reel to reel.
In one of the real videos for sure.
Yep. I
So,
remember that. Yep. I remember that.
I
remember that
reached out to those guys, and I haven't talked to. I've talked to Laban more recently, but I haven't talked to Lambert in a while. But yeah, let's not have any, because remember what Clyde said: ego is not your amigo, and let's just open our arms and embrace each other. And stay in connection, you know, like it's like, oh yeah, I saw what you're doing on Instagram. No. You're going to hear from me, and we're going to exchange things, and we're going to make art together. And we're going to make comedy together, and we're going to keep skateboarding in our blood because it's all we know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's my life, man. My favorite thing in life is to ride a skateboard. My favorite thing is to wrench on them and talk about them. You know what I'm saying? This is the epitome of what's awesome to me, you know, and I love every nuance of this, you know what I mean? And I'm honored, like I said, I have a platform to throw my skits at you and see which ones stick and which ones you're like, it's cheesy, we're not doing it. And you know, like I said, I'm you know, me and Laban Fides used to do that with Fuel TV with American Misfits and Notorious Nate. So you know, we did 3 seasons of that, and me, him, and Ted
Notorious
News.
Nate.
Yeah, that was a whole segment I had on there. You can find old ones on YouTube, but yeah, we did 3
Okay.
seasons of that, and me, Laban, Ted Newsome, Chris Lambert, and you know, everybody. I mean, I did a road trip with those guys out in New York City, stayed at Vinny Ponte's house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we did all kinds of crazy shit, man. We dragged Chris Lambert through fucking Washington Square Fountain in New York and shit. Like literally, like all this NYU units, like students looking at him like we're crazy while we're dragging him like on a rope, like through this shit, and like Chris Lambert just burrowing through it like for slam. And yeah, anyway, I could hold you on. I won't, you know, bore you with the details, but I'm looking forward to more creative, funny shit like that. And you know, like I said, man, this is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm hyped on all of this, man. This is gonna be great. I'm looking forward to we're gonna go on the interviews, the people, you know, like I said, I got some good stuff in the battery to go, and we'll see which ones make it to air, you know, flirtation.
And another little teaser: Colin is gonna be a part of this, and he's sending some footage for Thrasher for the Instagram. So we got vines, you know, it doesn't just
Yeah.
stop here. It can branch out over here, and
It can.
we're
Yeah.
just trying to help
Right.
everybody out and enjoy
Yeah,
life. Like
exactly.
life's too hard to not enjoy it. Like
It really is, man. It's short. It's a flash in the pan.
let's
You know?
land life bolts.
Yeah. Let's do
Okay?
it. Let's land. I like that. I'm putting that on the chalkboard tomorrow. Let's land life bolts. That's going up on the chalkboard tomorrow. Watch out.
Hey,
I'm gonna post that and quote you on you. That's the quote of the day.
Ready?
Yep. I'm ready.
Sherwood, eduskating the world.
How'd we do on the bumper?
I love the bumper. It's adorable. It's hilarious. Who did the singing and the guitar work? Or like
I got people at high places that are keeping me high.
Yeah, you
my
do.
wife listened to it once and she's like, I can't get it out of my head. And I was like, then it's perfect.
Sherwood, eduskating the world. Dude, it's hilarious. It's really amazing, man. Like, I love it. The props to the musicians involved, props to the bumper, props to the graphic work you did. I'm honored to have my own bumper. I'm honored to have my own segment. Like I said, we're gonna be like Skate Master Tate and the guy from the Scooby-Doo movie. And Lance Mount, we're gonna like just do the tech stuff. I'm gonna be wrapping duct tape on shoes. We're gonna, you know what I mean? Or, you know, of course, obviously I'm not gonna do that, but you know what I mean? We're gonna be doing things of that nature. And I love the bumper. It came out really good. It's hilarious. It's amazing. Whoever the musician was, respect to that amazing artist and their work and their, you know, studio work with the guitar and everything.
Well, dude, I can't wait to see what the future holds, and I'm gonna let you go get a good night's sleep if you ever do that. How do you sleep? Do you sleep okay?
I don't sleep because sleep is the cousin of death. I think the great street poet Nas said it best. I'm just joking. I'm exaggerating.
You seem like such an amp guy that it might be hard to get to sleep.
Extremely hard. My wife wants to punch me in the face all the time because
you aid yourself with like sleepy time tea or anything.
You know, I do sometimes. Sometimes I use valerian root and melatonin, a lot of things like that. Lately, what I've been doing though is I just stop eating really early in the day, about 3 or 4. And I don't eat dinner. And then I go to sleep. Like, you know, if I have a really like long week at work, like I have a lot of things where sometimes I just get worn down. I'll get 2 or 3 hours a night of sleep, like I did, you know, a few days ago, where I was just like so burned I couldn't even talk to anybody. But other times I get a good 8 hours or 10 hours or, you know, 6 hours. But a lot of it is just you know, meditation. I turn off all the screens. I lay off all the stimulants. You know, this orange juice probably is going to be good because that's going to give me some heartburn, even though it's delicious. Things like that. I try to sleep on my back. I do a bunch of yoga and stretches. I take a bunch of TheraBands, and I do a bunch of stuff with that before bed. I sometimes take long walks in the middle of the night. Like right now with this pulled hamstring, it's kind of hard, but I like to take long walks. You know,
tire yourself out.
Yeah, tire myself out. Exactly. 2 or 3 hour walks. Sometimes I'll walk 6-7 miles. I'll just catch up on text messages and listen to music and walk. You know, like when COVID was going on, I would like,
what's Nate doing out at 2 in the morning? Just walking around text.
just walking around text, and literally that's what I do it all the time, man. You know, like it's hilarious. You know, like the best is when like someone pulls an intersection, like, hey man, you're the guy from the skate shop. I'm like, like, what are you doing? You need a lift? I'm like, no, I'm just walking. They're like, oh, okay, because they think I like broke down. I'm like, they think I'm stranded. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm just walking my hood, bro. Like I'm just chilling. Like you know. The best when they ask me, like, where are you going? I'm like, nowhere. Want to come along? I'll be back away this round soon. Like it's just like hilarious. Like I'm not going anywhere. I'm just walking.
Right.
I'm just wearing my batteries down, bro. I'm like a labradoodle.
Well, I gotta give a shout out to my producers, Jacob Stokely. We got Nomad Skateboarding.
Yeah, Nomad.
And we got Billy Robin. And I'm also gonna give a special shout out to my boy Howdy, who's been kind of under the weather. I think he's got a little bit of problem. He's the guy that made this, which is pretty rad. He's a sick pianist. Check this out.
Oh, dope.
Hello? Howdy from Texas. You're watching TalkinSchmit.
So I think I'm gonna take that and maybe make it into a credits type thing or something like that could end every episode or something, because it's nice. And he's a rad dude. You'll see his name popping up all the time. He's supportive. He lives in Austin. He knows Jake Nunn and Zach and those guys, and he's been skating like his whole life. He's got all the knowledge and history of his areas and stuff. And I think it's just cool. Like Hansi up in Grass Valley, he's got the Cardiel and Toad and Sen stories from growing
Yeah.
up there with those guys. And
Dude,
just
it's sick.
Yeah, dude.
Those guys are cool. Grass Valley had such an amazing scene, man.
Oh my God, right?
I remember like the first time I heard about it was in like a Pal 8 or Couple of Fish where Chris Zen's like, I live in Grass Valley. I'm going to high school here. I really like art. I want to major in art. And it just shows him ripping and like driving around, like he's hitting spots. And, I just remember being like, yeah, Grass Valley. I want to go there, Like, yeah, that's cool. You grew up over there, man. That's a cool area.
Well, I think we have done it all. Look at this. Cool. Shout out. Howdy Cat. That's my guy right there.
Howdy Cat. What's up, Howdy Cat? Big props to you, man. You're an amazing pianist. I do not have the coordination for that. I salute all those who can play the piano. Every time I try playing piano, it sounds like some horrible like cat walking on the keyboard. It's bad, dude. Like, all respect and salute to you, sir. Respect to all the musicians out there. I don't understand how metronome works. I have no idea how they wrench. You know what I'm saying? And
he told me that I could learn it if I did some tutorials on YouTube, and I was like, I don't know, dude. My fingers have arthritis. It's like I got too much keyboard action.
Yeah,
going.
you've been typing and editing and working for Thrasher,
and holding a mouse.
Yeah, you were at Think before Thrasher. I remember that coming.
Yeah,
and so you've been working in the skate industry, dude, for like 30-some
93, I think.
Oh my God. So yes, 30 some years you've been working in the industry. Okay. I don't want to be that guy or speculate, but yeah, I mean, that's my freshman year of high school was 93. So were you there and Greg Carroll's working at Think? Like
yeah.
And Eric Ricks were there?
No, Eric just left, but of course Greg and Keith ran Think. Me and Greg super tight. Like I owe him a lot. He helped me kind of understand. Cool. Like when you first start skating, you kind of learn how not to be a kook.
Yeah,
when you first start working in the skate industry, it's kind of the same thing too, like in a different way. And some people take you on and kind of help you, and other people kind of bring you down. And Greg was always one that helped you, was like, hey dude, here, like I still have lots of anxiety, so I don't like flying, and I didn't fly for a long time. And Greg was always the one pushing me, saying, dude, you're going to fly. You're going to open all these doors. And then finally I started uncomfortably, I started flying and stuff. And I owe a lot to him. He was a big inspiration. And of course, him and Mike are just legends from growing up and watching Embarcadero, and then the Plan B video with Mike and Jake Rosenberg, and just NorCal, those guys, Chico Brenes, like all this, we have pride because these are our brethren from our area. So
right.
I
understand your fear of flying. I was scared to fly for a long time. When I went to Tampa 2000, me and Rod Marks were on a flight from Denver to Tampa. We transferred from Portland PX to there. And we got such bad terms, the mask came down. And I thought we were going to die. I was freaked out. This is literally March of 2000. And I just remember having almost a heart attack and a panic attack. And I didn't fly for 3 years after that. I was so scared. It took me forever to get over my fear to get on it. And I would just drive everywhere. People were like, oh, I can fly you to this flight. I was like, no, I was driving. I would make up excuses that I just wanted a car there. But really, I was scared shitless to get on an airplane. It took me forever to get the claustrophobia. I have major trust issues. I was like, man, I'm skeptical. This is just an aluminum toothpaste tube at 35,000 feet. Anything touches it, we're going to explode and die. We're going to down all those movies and things you see, and all the, the newsreels of burning airplanes and disappearing in the ocean. And, I don't blame you, man. I think it's a logical thing to be scared of flying because it's not a natural thing for a human. But Greg being such a meditative, Zen master, how he is, he's like a motivational speaker now. I could see him just being there, with you and all those dudes, Wade Spare and all those early guys that I think just Eric Ricks, whatever. Okay, man, we got the pot leaf on fire and the sticker tomorrow. Schmitty, you're gonna get on an airplane. We're gonna do this. You're gonna go to SFO. You're gonna meditate. You're gonna take off. It's natural. Look at everyone around you in the cabin. Blah blah blah. And I still have anxiety when I fly, but I do it. But I went to Barcelona 3 years ago with the wife. And I remember on the way back, we're somewhere over the Atlantic, dude, middle of nowhere, middle of the night, I'm sleeping. I was wake up to I'm freaking out. My wife's like, it's okay, honey, it's okay. And I look at the flight hostess, and she's just sitting there, just chilling, yawning. I'm like, okay, never mind. And I'm just thinking, I'm looking at the screen, the little TV screen on my chair in front of me. I'm like, dude, we're over the Atlantic. If we go down, we're fucked. There's we're going to land in Iceland and hang out with Bjork. We're not going to land in New York. We're not going to land in freaking, you know what I mean? Mainland Europe. you know, like I'm gonna get if I get lucky, it gets picked up by a shipping container ship, or they're gonna be pissed because they're not gonna have enough rations for me because I eat like a maniac. They're, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna freeze in the North Atlantic. So I know how you feel. I get that anxiety. I can relate to that, and it's cool that you were there during that time period because I mean Eric Ricks at the Visalia skate camp when he was on Think, and right after Powell. And I remember that, and him like being stoked on the stickers with the weed leaf and giving them out to everybody. And
yeah, I think
like Carol
Santa Rosa, right?
Yeah, Santa Rosa. Yeah.
God,
that
was right before my time. Jason Adams, I think, was on there too.
Oh yeah,
of course
on there.
The beginning, I think, was just AMs. It was like Sam Smythe, Nick Lockman, and Joey Nick Terche. And one other guy. There was like a milk carton. It was like kind of like a missing children thing, and it was those 4 guys.
I remember that ad.
And then evolved into like, I don't know who. You know who it was? I think Mike Kepper might have been the first pro. I can't remember.
I remember that name. I can't remember face or a trick, but I remember the name.
Ooh, Hansi Driscoll, speak of the devil, just at the 11th hour, dude.
I love it, Hansi Driscoll.
We're tuning out,
homie?
but check this out. According to my Gucci, it's about that time. 2:34, 2 hours and 34 minutes. We have done it, boys. We have done it.
We've done
it. And I haven't even used this yet, but check this out. Ready? I guess we did well.
We did it, man. Did you when you were working at Think, man, like did you I know it's a really far-fetched question, but did you ever meet Robin Williams? Because I know he was repping Think hard back in the day.
I didn't. I saw him and I know where he lived, but I never met him. He went into FTC a bunch. Or not a bunch, but he was definitely seen in there a few times. And yeah, that whole Think hat where he did an interview, I think it was 60 Minutes or something, wearing a Think hat. That was a big deal. And that was actually, I took that clip and put it in the Phil documentary to give. I mean, Think, if you look back at it, Think was insane for that era. Like with, it was Dan Drobel, Phil Shao, Jesse Paez, Wade Spire, Matt Pales. Like they were just like this demo coming to your town that was going to destroy whatever you made. And McKinney and so those were epic times for me.
Think is an amazing team, dude. It was cool. It's a street corner, man. Yeah, to represent, man. So much respect to everything you guys did over there and all that jazz. I feel bad holding you up. I'm sure, you did. It's I just that team. Jesse Paez was so sick. The first time I saw him was in Big Pants Smalls with Santa Cruz. I remember big baggy pants skating the helmet on Sung as a little guy. Then I remember meeting him at Waterfront Park, same place I actually met Phil Shao, and he ollied the third block, which everyone was trying to ollie at the time, and he just did it like nothing, no camera, nothing. He just did it like me and my little friends were like, dude, he just did it. We all been trying that and dying, and he just did that like just nothing, just do. Jesse Paez, I'm gonna ollie this, and his brother Richard Paez was there, I remember, and
dude, Richard and Jesse, Visalia Lokes, those are the homies too.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Pancho Moeller, he was on the team, and Pancho was just like. He was like the dude that was just like pretty much everybody loved Pancho. So like he could open door like, oh, you never met him? And all of a sudden you're best friends with him because Pancho introduced you to him. Like he was one of those guys. So Pancho took me down to Visalia for the first time and we skated with Jesse. My first line I ever filmed with Jesse is at Hanford Skate Park, and he's just going around in a circle doing 360 airs, like just killing it. And you're like, whoa, this guy is good, like really good.
Amazing. Watching him live is just insane,
dude.
Just insane. I am a huge Jesse Paez fan, man, and Richard
amazing.
And I remember the Hanford Park being really nasty and like weird.
I think he was a little under the radar because they lived down in the valley. Like if he had lived in San Francisco or LA more, he probably would have got more notoriety. But he was just as good as all the guys in his era,
It's sad because there's so many guys from the Central Valley that didn't get the props they deserve. I mean, think about Tom Knox, the old school Tom Knox, not the British one. But like, I think about him too. I think about, all the footage of him. Like I got into bands like freaking, oh my God, Peg Boy because of, Tom Knox. And you look at all that Central Valley footage. It's all like that weird smoggy Central Valley stuff with the crops and him skating some crusty shit.
Kool-Aid fog,
skating to like, Naked Ray Gun and shit. And you're just like, yeah, this guy's badass. Like, fuck, I want to move to Visalia. I want to live in Fresno. And, I remember meeting Tom Knox at a backyard mini ramp. This is somewhere when he was still working on airplanes before the jiu-jitsu thing. And I started being like, holy shit, I'm hanging with Tom Knox right now, skating a mini ramp. It was like, who the fuck took me there? I don't even remember now. It was fucking some chick. And then I was hanging out with some homies. My friend Matt Haas and John Haas knew some chick. Anyway, whatever. We went up to some barbecue. There's a mini ramp. But next thing I know, I meet fucking, Tom Knox. And I was just like, holy shit, it's my childhood hero. Anyway, I'm like thinking like gambling. Oh my God, risk it. Oh my God, like Speed Freaks, whatever. But yeah, like, no, the Central Valley did not get enough props. I agree. And I it's weird because you're right. Like, that's the thing I tell kids here all the time. And Dan Rogers and me were talking the other day about the same thing because, he's affiliated with Subsec, the skate shop that's 2 hours from here in Des Moines. And we're talking about just like kids not ever want to leave their town. And then if they do leave their town, they leave it for some other bullshit place that's not going to help them in skating. And you're like you said, that limelight being there, a tree that falls in the forest, scenario, if it does, does it really make noise? And you're right. Like, it's sad. There's so many dudes that like stayed in their place. They're ripped, but yet they weren't right where all the main shit was, which is sad because you hope they could stay there and they rep their town. And, it should be like other activities, other performance arts. And, I always think of skateboarding as a performance art that masquerades as a sport. And I think that people should be able to do it anywhere they live and rep their town and skate their terrain and not have to move places. But sadly, so many times, like you said, people get slept on because they're not right there in that outside out of mind thing, in a city like SF or LA or New York or whatever, so yeah, it's depressing like a clutch.
Do you see the logo in the upper corner above my head?
I do. It says live 23914 or the one that says
right behind it, right behind the live.
Oh, a Perman something?
No, to the left of that.
Oh, I see a little ink drop of something. I'm not wearing my glasses. I can't.
Okay, it says Subsect.
Oh my God, it's a Subsec. Holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah. So. Well, dude, I gotta get crack-a-lackin'.
Yeah, you got a job in the morning. I mean, I do too, but my job is way more mellow than yours. You got to deal with like crazy skate shit. I just deal with random dudes that come and say my bearings are broken. Why? I only skated the rain 40 times. I do see the Subsec now. I had to really, really get in there, bro. I had to get all like, there it is.
Bruce City Circus says, much love from the Milltown. Thank you guys for keeping me stoked. Dude, we're gonna try to do this more often. Ryan Johnson's coming up next. I'm gonna try to build this out. I've never done live ones before like this, and this one went well. So let's see if we can spread the stoke and get more people involved. If I can get you guys in the chat room asking questions, my goal is to get 40 plus people in the chat at the same time, and I'll give away a skateboard. So think about that when you're promoting what we do, and come back for the next one. We will be here. Promise you that.
Absolutely. Hey, I'll let you go. Good night, gentlemen. Good night, Schmitty. Good night to anybody who's tuning in. I don't even know if anyone's still streaming and watching it right now. If not, hopefully they'll.
We got like 11 people right now still.
No shit. Dope. 11 people still sick. I'm amazed. I'd be like, holy shit. Holy shit.
I got to crash, bro, but I'll watch the rerun tomorrow. I'll be up early with my coffee. God damn, that was funny when you guys talked about the
Exactly. Dude, Shackle Me Not, the Carroll brothers, when the dog's chasing them down the hill in fucking SF, Mike and Greg, how dope was that in Shackle Me Not, dude? And I mean, I loved all that.
We used to trip on anything that was, I mean, same with you probably. Anytime you see something in your area, you're like, oh,
yeah.
What?
I mean, Portland,
they
like when
skated
I saw
in Redwood City? No way.
Yeah, like same thing in Portland, all the early Matt Beach footage and all the I remember like seeing long before Burnside was even a thought when I was a little kid, opened up, I don't remember what mag it was, but it was a black and white photo of Mark Red Scott like doing this like mute grab over this like brick, nasty brick like planter box thing that was in oh my god, it's gonna kill me the name of the suburb of Portland now. It's somewhere in Tigard. It was near Tigard. It's gonna fucking kill me. And Newburgh. It was Newburgh, Oregon. It was like Mark Red Scott, Newburgh, Oregon. He was like this roached out board, all chipped. He's doing this knee tuck, and I was like, Oregon, oh my god! And then there was a picture of Vice, Travis Willis at the Cannon Beach skate park that I skated years later doing a big melon, and I was like, yeah, and like you said, I know what you mean by that, yeah. And so yes, I remember that stoke even then, like pre Matt fame, pre Jamie fame, pre Dave Hupp fame.
Big shout out to Dave Hupp. Love that.
Yeah,
dude.
Dave Hupp is a homie. I love that guy too, man. He's a good bro. Filmed a lot of my early video parts. I spent a lot of time in the trenches with that guy.
Maybe we can pull some of these mutual acquaintances in somehow, and we'll just
Dave
keep
Hupp
it going. I love creativity, so we got
brother.
people that are creative, and we'll keep it going.
Fuck yeah, creativity. Yep.
In case you forget, Nate Sherwood is eduskating the world. That's all we got for tonight, and we'll see you soon.
We're going on it.
Night, baby.
Night Sherwood's Eduskating.